May have just been a stalled vehicle, but traffic looks like it's getting by the area okay right now. The only roadwork delay of any consequence is westbound 64. It's a moving operation right now. Westbound 64 is kind of slow from Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Prospect. The delays we had westbound 70 west of Wentzville Parkway have dissipated. It also looks better on northbound 55 coming through Highway A. Illinois side, eastbound 64 past Greenmount Road looks okay. They opened that new 111 at 270 interchange yesterday during the day, so I'll have that for your use this morning. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The federal government is closed for business this morning. It shut down a minute past midnight after a Republican-backed funding plan failed in the Senate. Team coverage begins with CBS's Michael Toscano.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson blamed Senate Democrats for the impasse and said the two sides were not negotiating.
There literally is nothing to negotiate. They're bringing in extraneous issues that don't have anything to do at all with keeping the government open.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said his side needs to have expiring health care tax credits extended.
We need to stop these premiums from going up dramatically. We need to do it now.
Johnson was unmoved.
Keep the government open, and then we'll talk about the rest of it.
I'm Michael Wallace. The shutdown does not affect the Postal Service, so you will still get your mail. Social Security and Medicare benefits will still be paid out. Essential workers like military members, TSA agents, and air traffic controllers will continue to work, but without pay. The TSA is warning travelers to expect delays. National parks will remain partially open, but buildings and sites that require staffing, like Smithsonian museums or the Washington Monument, will be closed. Members of Congress still get paid.
New tariffs on imported drugs take effect today. Some taxes are set at 100%. But CBS's Kelly O'Grady says the impact might not be as big as you'd think.
It does not include generic pharmaceuticals, though. And that's a really important point because the majority of medications and drugs that we as Americans buy are generic brands.
New Orleans Assistant Police Superintendent says he welcomes the idea of working with National Guard troops after Republican Governor Jeff Landry asked for up to 1,000 of them to help fight crime. But Hans Gonthier says they'll have some learning to do.
They're not familiar with New Orleans. They're not familiar with the hot spots.
Gonthier is also pushing back on GOP claims of a rising crime rate there. Hearts sank along the Outer Banks as 5 empty homes in Buxton were hit by 15-foot waves and collapsed into the ocean.
This one's really tough because I grew up on this street and lived on this street for a few years.
The ocean roughed up by Hurricanes Imelda and Umberto, rumbling in the Atlantic around Bermuda. A famous beer fest has been shut down for the day. Police in Germany have closed the fairgrounds that host Oktoberfest after a bomb threat and an explosion at a residential building in northern Munich. It's left these Americans disappointed.
I'm sad. We had a reservation for a beer tent, and that's gone.
A little upset. We came a long way, and we're only here for one day.
City officials say one person died in that explosion. They've linked it to an apparent domestic dispute. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got partly cloudy skies. It is 60 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. St. Louis is set to get back an transatlantic airline route we haven't had since the days of TWA.
Better late than never. They're probably going to do gangbusters.
Our airline analyst, Mike Boyd, for years has been saying now that Lufthansa is well established with the direct flight to Frankfurt, Germany, there is room for another, and he's pointed to British Airways. This morning, the mayor, county executive, and economic development officials will announce a new route. It's widely reported to be to London, and Boyd says it'll be to Heathrow.
The slots at Heathrow are valuable, and they're going to use them on St. Louis. I rest my case.
He says the route should be a success right from the first takeoff, both in terms of ticket sales and revenue. While Lufthansa is popular for those going to Eastern Europe and Asia, Boyd says the British Airways route should be popular with those connecting around Western Europe. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Boeing taking aim at union leadership in the ongoing machinist strike, now in its 7th week. In a statement, the top St. Louis Boeing executive accuses the union of setting false expectations with members. The company reiterates it will not negotiate the union's self-drafted proposal and will continue executing its contingency plan, which includes hiring permanent replacements. Boeing maintains any talks must be limited to the company's last offer.
Starbucks workers keep pushing the company to negotiate contracts for locations which have voted to unionize. That includes a coffee house on Hampton on the south side. Baristas include Devin Willenbrink hitting the picket line to spread their message.
Without a contract, we don't have a lot of the benefits that the union would be able to provide. So we're trying to get Starbucks to come to the table and sign that contract.
Starbucks Workers United accuses the company of stonewalling. Starbucks, in a statement, says we're ready to finalize a reasonable contract for represented partners, but we need the union to return to the bargaining table to finish the job.
Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick announcing an audit into the St. Louis Development Corporation's North City Grant Program.
The program was funded with ARPA dollars and came under scrutiny when it was revealed some of the grants were conditionally approved for businesses and nonprofits that were not located in North City or in some cases did not exist. Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick is also looking into whether some of the recipients had improper ties to SLDC.
The conflict of interest that potentially existed on grants that were approved to a board member's family member.
Auditor Fitzpatrick confirmed that board member is Alderwoman Shamim Clark-Hubbard. He adds they are also looking into the consulting fee and severance paid to former CEO Neil Richardson. Fitzpatrick says SLDC has been somewhat cooperative so far. He would not rule out criminal charges stemming from this audit, but said they have no referrals to make at this time. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
KMOX has reached out to Alderwoman Clark-Hubbard for comment. A spokesperson for SLDC only confirmed their knowledge of the audit in a statement.
The National Guard in Missouri will be helping ICE. Governor Mike Kehoe has authorized the Missouri National Guard to help ICE starting today with administrative, clerical, and logistical duties. That came in response to a request from the Departments of War and Homeland Security. Kehoe says he is confident their contributions will be invaluable to immigration enforcement efforts and that Missouri is proud to join the Trump administration's efforts.
The business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. What will it take to get fans back in the seats?
I mean, we've heard from fans that they want a great game day experience. They want to see value.
Cardinals president Bill DeWitt III says it's not just about the game itself, but the experience inside Busch Stadium.
Game day entertainment we've worked a lot on. You've seen some changes already. You'll see more next year. We feel that if we don't push the envelope a little bit, maybe make a mistake, recalibrate. That's kind of our approach.
He says they're working to keep ticket prices down and working to get cheaper concession options, but notes the team only controls one of the myriad parking lots around the stadium.
DeWitt visited with us in our studio at Busch Stadium after the press conference. We will have that plus the visit that John Rooney had with Chaim Bloom, the new president of baseball operations, all coming up in sports and throughout the day today on KMOX. It's 6:08, traffic and weather next.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
This is Tom Becker with Climate Masters. We don't just sell air conditioners. We sell comfort. We sell solutions. We sell a job well done, and we fix bad jobs. Climate Masters, because you need someone you can trust. Someone who earns your respect and 5-star reviews. Climate Masters, selling high-quality Carrier air conditioners. Turn to the experts. Climate Masters, quality work for over 40 years. Just type in Climate Masters and give us a call.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Last month, my business cash flow got tight. Sales were slow.
Invoices were late, and payroll was coming fast. My business is everything, and people rely on me. I can't let them down. I applied online at lendseek.com and had business funding in 24 hours.
Business moves fast. Don't wait until it's too late. Whether it's lines of credit, term loans, working capital funding, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply now at lendseek.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10 and time for us to get you a check of the roadways and the weather. It is October 1st, but the weather is not very fall-like. We'll have details on the way. First, details on your ride from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks pretty good out there, Debbie. I mentioned at the top of the hour, though, we did have that stalled auto. They're still out there. It's westbound 70 at the west end of the Blanchette Bridge. They have the right lane blocked. It is westbound, so thankfully right now it's really not causing a problem. Just a little busy coming across the bridge, but you have plenty of time to move over and get out of the way. Westbound 64, just a hint of a slowdown now, running through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Again, they were doing road work there. We had longer delays earlier. It didn't look like too much to be concerned about at that location now. Northbound 55, passing Highway A in the Crystal City area. Just a little heavy in that construction zone. After that, though, you're good to go all the way into downtown. Downtown, we look great for Illinois drivers coming in on the Illinois side. No issues there. We did it yesterday after the morning rush hour during the midday. They opened after extensive rebuild project, the interchange 111 at 270. It's one of those diverging diamond interchanges. I think they said there's 8 of them in the state of Illinois right now, and the first one in Metro East for Illinois drivers in Madison County. So that's new, and that's open for you this morning on your drive into work. And we do have a rescue crash South Grand at Wyoming. They sent emergency crews there a couple of minutes ago as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Dimmed by high clouds today. Our high temperature still up there at 87 and partly cloudy and mild tonight of 65. Tomorrow mostly sunny and feeling rather hot, the high 90. Friday, sunshine and very warm, high 88. Saturday and Sunday, bright sunshine and very warm, the high both days 88. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
61 degrees downtown right now. Weather sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
It is 6:12 and a car drove directly into the McDonald's on Lindell Boulevard yesterday in the Central West End. The fire department confirming 4 people were taken to a hospital, including the driver and 3 teenagers who were inside the restaurant. All of the injuries are described as non-life-threatening, but city police are still investigating exactly what caused that crash.
St. Charles County Council unanimously passing a resolution decrying political violence.
And whereas whether it is Charlie Kirk, John and Yvette Hoffman, Melissa and Mark Hortman, or any other political figure, we must unite against such attacks and honor those who dedicate their lives to fostering respectful dialogue and civic engagement.
County Councilman Joe Brazel defended the resolution.
We honor a lot of people. We honor Martin Luther King, which that happened. I was 4 years old when he was killed. But even in years past, we honored him. He was never elected. He was a good man. He did some great things. Just like Jared Smith, we honored him. He's a veteran. We honor veterans all the time.
Councilman Mike Elam says he hopes such an approach could help lower the political temperature.
Hundreds of job cuts at Washington University as the school looks to save money. Almost 200 open positions have now been closed and 316 staff positions eliminated. That will reportedly save about $52 million a year. Under changes by the Trump administration, WashU's endowment will now be taxed at a higher rate, costing the university millions. The school is also the second largest recipient of NIH research funds, which Trump has frozen or terminated.
Dynamic seat pricing.
It's not just for concert and sport tickets anymore. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley alleges airlines, including Frontier, are using your personal data to determine how much you as an individual person can afford to pay and then charging you that. Frontier CEO Barry Biffle denies it.
But why are you collecting all of this personal information? What guarantee do I have that you're not using this to set my price? I have no idea how you're setting the price.
I just guarantee you we're not.
Well,
but
right. Just like you guarantee me your agents won't harass me, but you're paying them to do it.
Hawley is referring to so-called bounty fees that are paid to airline gate agents who sniff out oversized carry-ons and force travelers waiting to get on the plane to pay a checked baggage fee.
All right. Well, just down the street from us yesterday, there was a news conference about a main downtown St. Louis artery getting a major upgrade to make it safer for pedestrians and cyclists. About a mile of Tucker between Washington and Shoto will get a dedicated bike lane, and extensions to pedestrian sections should make it safer to cross the wide street. The changes are all part of a plan put together in 2017, designed by TrailNet, but finally made possible thanks to help from the William A. Kerr Foundation, People for Bikes, and Greater St. Louis, Inc.
Runs right by our building.
It sure does, and it is a wide street.
Yes, it is.
You have to run across it quickly.
It's 6:15. New president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, asked about the team possibly pursuing free agents in this rebuilding phase, although they never used the word rebuild in their address yesterday. Are the Cardinals still possibly doing that, going after the big fish?
Most important thing we need to do, in free agency or any arena, is just make sure that the things we're pursuing actually make sense for what we're trying to build and what we're trying to build towards. So, I never like to take ourselves out of any opportunities. I just think, you always want to be able to be opportunistic, but we want to make sure those things line up with what we're actually shooting for.
The task of Bloom and his front office team is to get the Cardinals back to where they used to be. He says the top priority is to build a talent base for the long term, which will mean hard decisions. He said the strategy is long term, but we won't concede anything. Here he is with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney.
From your time with San Diego, and then you hook on with the Tampa Bay Rays, what did you think of the Cardinal organization at that point? How did you see the Cardinals looking from the outside?
Well, just like the rest of baseball, I saw the Cardinals win a whole heck of a lot during that time. And I saw the Cardinals win with homegrown players. And really one of the things that stood out, I alluded to it today when I was speaking from the podium. The Cardinals in that era were really changing the way that people in the game thought about using information to help in the draft and using information to make major league acquisitions. And a lot of people who in many cases who are still here were a big part of that. And it was just the latest example for me of how the Cardinals just found ways to get out front. They found ways to beat the industry to things that could help you win. That's always been part of the legacy here. And it always has been an organization that stood out for just the tremendous history and the tradition of winning. But, when I was starting my career, you saw the Cardinals doing some things and finding competitive edges that other teams weren't finding. And I think that's always been a huge part of the organization's success.
I found something very interesting in the press conference, though. You were talking about the Rays and how they developed their model, and you looked at the Cardinals and other organizations, but you also said that it has to deal with what you're doing in the moment, because what works for the Rays in one respect may not work in Boston or in St. Louis. If you could explain that.
Yeah, you just have to be yourself. You are always going to be best by being the best version of who you are. That's different for every organization. And I think one of the things that's essential, especially when you join a new organization, is to figure out what makes that organization unique, whether it's something bigger in the identity of the organization, or whether it's something maybe smaller that you might not know until you get within the walls and get curious enough to find out what's working. What do we do really well? That's going to be different in every place. And just figuring out, just like you would for a player, every player who walks in the door is going to be a little different. And so much of what we try to do is help those players figure out who they are, find their superpowers, and try to accentuate those. And I think it's the same for organizations.
Chaim Bloom with John Rooney, the full interview available now at KMOX.com. It's up on our front page. The postseason yesterday went on without the Cardinals. Cubs beat the Padres 3-1 in Game 1. The other National League series had the Dodgers pounding the Reds 10-5. In the American League, Tigers took Game 1 over the Guardians in Cleveland 2-1, and the Red Sox won at Yankee Stadium 3-1 over New York. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction, 314-569-1050 to schedule schedule your free in-home consultation or the website bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. I want to tell you about 213 Complex. That is the best all-natural weight loss supplement on the marketplace, and you can pick it up at supplement superstores. Here's what it's doing for me. It'll do the same for you. Get the metabolism working 24/7 the way that it's supposed to. Helps me fight cravings, gives me that all-day focused energy with no crash at the end of the day, and lowers cortisol levels, which can help with sleep. So don't wait for the new year to get moving. If you want to get in better shape, do it now. Do it in advance of the holidays. Go to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off the 213 Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett with Washington University School of Medicine and Siteman Cancer Center. Mammograms, when should people get them? How often should they get them?
People should start getting mammograms at least by age 40. If you don't have a significant family history of breast cancer, then we recommend that you start at 40, and we recommend that you get them every year to give yourself the best chance of finding a breast cancer as early as possible.
What would you say to someone who is nervous to get their mammogram?
Well, that would be everybody. So what I would tell them is that they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for their families, for their kids. The reason we do mammograms is, as I said, to find cancers as early as possible. If we can find them as early as possible, they're very treatable.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is time for us to get you a check of the roadways right now at 6:20 on Total Information AM. The latest from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
That's not bad. Just a couple of slowdowns out there so far this morning, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of Amon, Gantner, and Capriano. If you're on northbound 55, you got a few of them there. Northbound 55, just past Highway A is a little slow. The right lanes from Butler Hill up to 270, and from north of Union Road overpass up to River to Pear, that's all kind of off the pace, getting crowded on the drive-through. Still have a couple of slow spots on westbound 64, one approaching Wing Haven, the other just past Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and a little volume on southbound 61, Winslow Parkway down to 64. They did clear that stall we had westbound 70 at the west end of the Blanchette Bridge. No longer any restrictions or delays in that area. Still working that rescue crash, South Grand and Wyoming in South City, though. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Amon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com. Hi, Margaret at Amon, Gantner, and Capriano. I was suddenly widowed at 41. We had a will. Do you? Amon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com. Choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
It is going to be warm today, by the way. First day of October, 87 degrees tomorrow, near 90. It's 60 degrees out there right now.
It's 6:22. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. In the news, after the Senate once again rejected a House proposal passed by the Republican majority to temporarily fund the government, the U.S. government has partially shut down.
With the hours slowly melting away towards the deadline to fund the government, the Senate finished 5 votes short of the 60 required to pass the Republican House bill to keep the government open. It's the first shutdown since the one that closed the government for 35 days around Christmas time in 2018 and early 2019. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer placing the blame on Republicans who he says have refused to negotiate with Democrats over their concerns about Medicaid cuts in President Trump's big, beautiful bill that went into law over the summer.
Republicans once again rejected Democrats' proposals to avoid a shutdown, fix healthcare premiums, and spare Americans the calamity of skyrocketing through the roof healthcare costs.
Republican Senator Bernie Moreno says Democrats are to blame, urging just a handful more to join Republicans in passing the clean House continuing resolution.
3 Democrats have voted with us in complete unity. We need 5 more to wake up tomorrow morning and go, this is just stupid. Because I think most normal Americans would look and they go, why are you putting the American people through this?
Not all government functions are shut down. FBI investigators, CIA officers, air traffic controllers, and airport checkpoint operators will continue working, as will members of the military. Social Security payments will continue to go out, and seniors on Medicare will still be able to see their doctors and submit claims to be reimbursed. Furloughed workers will get retroactive pay once the government reopens. But President Trump said Tuesday it's possible the administration will use the shutdown to lay off more federal workers.
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down. So when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected.
Democratic Senator Patty Murray says Trump's priorities are clear.
Trump doesn't want to lift a finger to stop healthcare premiums from more than doubling. But he is raring to go when it comes to firing whoever he wants to or slashing whatever he wants to.
The White House's Office of Management and Budget said any government programs not funded through the big beautiful bill will likely see most of the effects of the shutdown. Republican leader John Thune says he's hopeful enough Democrats will change their mind so another vote on the House CR can happen as soon as possible. John Stolness, Washington.
Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin is temporarily stopping its abortion services starting today because of questions about a new federal law.
The group is concerned the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which is now law, will deprive its patients of Medicaid coverage unless abortions are stopped. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul is challenging the defunding provision in court.
This issue was being left to the states. And yet this federal bill that was passed has now caused Planned Parenthood to stop providing access to abortion for at least a period of time here in Wisconsin.
Despite the pause, abortion is still legal in the Badger State. Bruce Marcus for CBS News, Eagle River, Wisconsin.
Try again. That's basically what a Cole County judge has told Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins when it comes to writing the ballot language for a constitutional amendment to ban abortion, because for a second time, it fails to mention it would repeal the voter-approved amendment last year that made abortion legal.
Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway argued Hoskins' language was sufficient because the new amendment wouldn't abolish all rights to abortion. It would include the right to miscarriage care. The judge disagreed. Hoskins has one more chance to rewrite it to the satisfaction of the judge, or the judge can rewrite it himself.
Does the state of Missouri need to take a larger role in disaster relief?
In her testimony before the Missouri House Futures Caucus, Mayor Kara Spencer said the Trump administration's push to put less of the disaster recovery onus on the federal government means the state needs to step up. Spencer says the uncertainty of waiting for FEMA causes problems.
Not knowing in those hours after the tornado what we were going to get, what our residents were going to get, if we were going to get individual assistance. The uncertainty makes planning and doing the work so incredibly difficult.
Spencer says most city governments do not have the funding on hand to front millions when a natural disaster strikes. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It is 6:27, and safety improvements along Tucker Boulevard are coming. The multi-lane roadway is being reconfigured to prioritize pedestrians and cyclists, a project spearheaded by TrailNet. Cindy Mentz, CEO of TrailNet, says they started planning this in 2017.
This project started with a vision, the Connecting St. Louis vision. And TrailNet, we asked ourselves, what would it look like if our city was connected for safety, for safe walking, biking, connecting us into areas of strength?
New features include a protected two-way bike path, raised medians, and improved crosswalks. The work is expected to be completed in spring 2026. We'll have more on this coming up at 6:42.
And then at 6:45, more from John Rooney, an exclusive radio interview, the first for new president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. It's 6:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey Illinois, this is Ben Barnett, board certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. Sorry St. Louis, this message is for our friends in the Metro East. Did you know that most Missouri-based tree contractors can't legally travel into Illinois? This is due to federal motor carrier regulations that require large trucks and their drivers to be registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration in order to travel across state lines. Almost all other tree services in Missouri fail to meet the requirements for safety, drug and alcohol testing, and equipment maintenance that are required for interstate travel. Here at Timberline, we meet and exceed all of these requirements and will be glad to travel across the river to meet all of your tree care needs. Call us today at 636-479-7475 for tree fertilization, pruning, insect and disease treatment, or complete removal. Or visit our website at stltreecare.com. That's stltreecare.com for service in the Metro East area.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It is 6:30, and we've got partly cloudy skies, 60 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're getting a little more volume out there, but all in all, we're doing all right so far this morning. The only serious crash we had, South City, South Grand of Wyoming, a rescue crash there on the south side. Northbound 55, the right lanes are bogged down. Butler Hill up to 270, and from the Union Road overpass to River to Pear, kind of slow. It's slower now, north 270, Doherty Ferry up through Manchester, and then north of there up to Ladue, Doherty Ferry at Barrett Station. Right nearby, they're reporting an injury crash. They're sending emergency crews there. There's more volume on southbound 61. You've got slow traffic now north of Highway P down onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and both sides of Winghaven are bogged down just a touch. Eastbound 70 looks great coming out of Wentzville, and on the Illinois side, we've got some slow traffic on westbound 64 from the 70 split, a couple of spots headed for the Poplar. Next update at 6:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says very warm with sun through variable high cloudiness, a high of 87 today, and then for tonight, a low 65. It's been pretty comfortable at night, and then it gets up to heat again tomorrow and high near 90. Friday's high 88, Saturday, Sunday, both 88. It's going to be a very warm weekend. No relief in sight, at least not during the day. Right now, it's mostly cloudy, 60 downtown at the Arch.
A St. Louis County man facing multiple felony charges following yesterday's Amber Alert. Prosecutors charged 30-year-old Jacob Putnam with first-degree kidnapping, child endangerment, and stealing a motor vehicle. Police in Sunset Hills say Putnam fled, taking a car with a 2-year-old girl inside. The child was later found safe.
A 51-year-old man was arrested for throwing rocks off an overpass and hitting cars below. Joseph Patzius allegedly tossed things onto 44 near Arsenal. He's charged with assault and property damage.
Trying to stay healthy this fall, WebMD has a list of the germiest things you touch every day.
Your cell phone made the list. You take it everywhere, even in the bathroom, which makes it 10 times germier than a toilet seat. E. coli can live for hours on a warm surface like your phone. The remote control is also on the list because everyone touches it. Wipe it down with antibacterial wipes. Same with the keyboard everyone shares at your house. Kids use it to play games, but your cat may walk on it after they use the litter box. And speaking of pets, dog toys are disgusting. The slobber on Mr. Squeaky creates a sticky place for germs to thrive. Rubber toys can go in the dishwasher and cloth ones in the wash. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A judge sides with the city of St. Louis in its dispute with Sheriff Alfred Montgomery over inmate transportation. A new court order requires the Sheriff's Department to continue providing emergency medical transports, a duty the sheriff recently said he wouldn't perform because he didn't have the staff. The judge ruled that stopping the transports created a dangerous situation inside the city jail. The sheriff is now required to perform the duty until at least mid-October.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:34, and we've got your money report coming up next.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
Your money report at 6:35, sponsored by Eamon Ganner and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
Good morning. Wall Street is facing a day of uncertainty now that the government has shut down for the first time in nearly 7 years. Congressional Democrats and President Trump clashed over healthcare spending. The effects of the shutdown will cloud the outlook of the economy. It also threatens to delay key economic reports used to gauge the Fed's path for rate cuts. This includes the crucial September employment report due Friday. Investors and economists will be paying more than the usual amount of attention to private sector indicators until the government reopens. The markets won't be getting key government data on employment and inflation. Today's ADP report on private sector hiring may serve as a proxy for the Labor Department's monthly jobs report, which will be missing on Friday. And stocks advanced in Tuesday trading, with the major averages posting gains ranging from 0.2% to 0.4%. The government shutdown may have set the stage for a lower start this morning. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or a delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The countdown to kickoff starts here. Friday's focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL, only on KMOX.
It is now 6:39, and Missouri's new congressional map is facing multiple legal challenges that could take some time to resolve. KMOX wanted to know if that will create challenges for election officials in the 2026 midterm elections.
Former Missouri Supreme Court Justice and SLU law professor emeritus Michael Wolf tells KMOX candidates can go ahead and run campaigns.
You can run for Congress without being a resident of the district in which you end up serving.
Wolf says if citizen groups manage to get a vote challenging the new congressional maps, the courts may wait to see what happens. He adds if there are any appeals of circuit court rulings and legal challenges to the redistricting effort, those may skip over appellate courts and head directly to the state Supreme Court. Wolf says he hopes there will be a definitive answer within 6 months of the election. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Here's Roger Brand of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're getting busier on the highways, Tom. This traffic report's a service of Saks Financial. If you're traveling up northbound on Highway 55, it looks good down in Festus. The right lanes are kind of slow. Approaching Butler Hill, Mattis, it's backed up north of the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. Slow as you merge on to North 270 on northbound 55, there onto the 270 merge point, and then through Gravois, Big Bend, all the way up to Ladou's busy. South 270 slow from Olive down through Ladou. Southbound 61, Highway P, down onto 64, busy to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and again through Winghaven on westbound 64, approaching 364 out to 70. You've got roadwork slowdowns there. Eastbound 70, a little busy at Highway Z and past Highway A. Doherty Ferry at Barrett Station to work in that injury crash, and a little busier downtown, but still just slow. Westbound 64 from 203 on 5570 on to 64. There's busy stretches all the way across the Poplar. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial. Did you know that you have a pension and there are ways to maximize how you take it? That's right. It's called Social Security. Find out more at retiresafestl.com/guide. That's retiresafestl.com/guide.
Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, because I know it's October the 1st, but I don't know, Joe, when are we going to actually feel some fall-like weather?
Oh, it's not going to be any time in the next week. That much is for sure, Debbie. Our average high should be about 75 today. We're going to blow past that like it's standing still, even with some high clouds dimming our sunshine. 87 our projected high. Our normal low would be about 55. We're only going to get to about 65 under partly cloudy skies tonight. Tomorrow, even hotter, back up near 90 like yesterday with plenty of sunshine. And that kind of warmth continues Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with sunshine. Temperatures each of those days are going to be in the upper 80s across the area. Next chance of rain is probably not until maybe next Tuesday across the area. Right now, it's 60 at St. Peter, 62 in Florissant, partly cloudy, 65 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 6:42. St. Louis City leaders celebrated the start of safety improvements along Tucker Boulevard yesterday. Mayor Kara Spencer spoke outside City Hall to provide an update on the project that features a protected two-way bike path, raised medians, and improved crosswalks.
And thank you all for being here for this exciting moment for St. Louis. Tucker Boulevard, as we all know, which runs right behind me here, is a street that is entirely too wide. And it has been too wide for far too long. And so to anybody who has been asking the question, are we there yet? We're here. We have made it. The answer is no longer soon. The answer is now. This is a project that's been in the works for about 8 years now, since TrailNet proposed making safer this corridor safer by connecting South St. Louis to North St. Louis with safe, people-friendly, multimodal infrastructure. I know Cindy will be talking a little bit more about that, but I just want to say on the forefront is we owe TrailNet a great deal of thanks and gratitude for this project here we are today, for a lot for making this happen. Your advocacy on this issue and on issues in general has been transformative, and we owe you a great deal of gratitude and gratitude for TrailNet and all your work. So thank you. This project is an example of a positive shift that we are now making in building our transportation infrastructure in St. Louis. No streets running through our downtown or any neighborhood really should be 8 lanes wide. That's not a street, it's a highway, and it makes our city less pleasant, less healthy, and less safe. So instead of Tucker being a dangerous barrier for pedestrians and bicyclists, we are now turning it into a multimodal street with a protected 2-way bike path with raised medians, bump outs for shorter pedestrian crossings, high visibility crossways, and raised bus stop boarding inlets and lane reductions to calm traffic. As you can see, the work has already begun, and there's more to come. Our city will soon adopt its first transportation and mobility plan in decades, which will act as a guiding document for how we build and maintain our transportation infrastructure in a way that considers all users, as well as how infrastructure affects our neighborhoods. I'm grateful to work of our city staff, in particular our planning department, the Board of Public Service, and so many community members, including our Board of Aldermen, who have done so much work to develop this plan and ensure funding for it. I'm thrilled that what we're going to be doing here on Tucker Boulevard, along with other great infrastructure like the Tower Grove Connector, the 20th Street cycle track, and the South Broadway cycle track, 7th Street, 4th Street, and of course, the amazing Brick Line that will connect so many of these individual pieces to make them part of one great system, allowing St. Louis and visitors to get our city around in safer, enjoyable, and more healthy ways.
Changes in downtown St. Louis, changes at Busch Stadium. The new president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom.
We are not where we want to be. We are not where we need to be. We are not where our fans expect us to be. And we are not where we expect ourselves to be. Our goal is to field a team every year that can compete for this division and for a World Series championship.
After his media address, Bloom sat down with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney.
Chaim Bloom is the new president of baseball operations of the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm welcome to the KMOX studio and the Cardinals radio network. And how does it feel on the first day of a new era of your baseball career?
It feels great. I'm excited to be here. I was just saying on my way here, I've walked past this room dozens of times now, but I've never actually been in it. So appreciate you having me. Excited to get going in this role. Obviously, in some ways, it feels like a continuation because I've been in the organization now for a couple of years, and it's really good to have a lot of relationships already in place, but I'm excited to get to work.
Before we talk about those 2 years, tell us, how did a young man from Philadelphia become interested in baseball? You had so many different avenues you could have gone from your educational background. You did some writing before you joined a team as an intern and your work with the Rays. But how did you get interested in the game to begin with?
I loved it from a young age. Just fell in love with the game. I also have, to put it mildly, not very much athletic ability. So it was pretty clear that I was not going to be able to play the game at a high level. Little League was about as far as that went. So if I was going to be involved in the game, which over time I just became, I increasingly wanted to do. If I was going to get involved, I was going to have to find another way in. And then, when I was in high school and especially early on in college, I just decided to give this a go. I'd learned more about the front office side of the game. This was a point in time when pathways into front offices were just starting to really open up for people with backgrounds like mine. So I decided to try and scratch and claw and see if I could hustle my way in, and then impress some people and build a career out of it. And I was really, really fortunate to get some opportunities that allowed me to do that.
The visit with John Rooney and Chaim Bloom is available now at KMOX.com. It's up on our front page. We had plenty of reaction yesterday, from the Gas House Gang to the Chris and Amy Show to Sports Open Line, all of it right now, wherever you get your podcast. Cubs won 3-1 over the Padres yesterday afternoon. They take a 1-0 series lead. They can close it out today. Also, the Tigers beat the Guardians 2-1 in Cleveland. Red Sox over the Yankees 3-1 at Yankee Stadium, and the Dodgers blasted the Reds last night 10-5 in all of those wild card openers. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Think back to the holiday season last year. You're surrounded by your family. It's been months since everyone has been together like this. Everyone is talking and catching up, sharing stories and laughing, and your grandson is real quick-witted. He cracks a joke and everyone seems to laugh. But you missed it. How does that make you feel? Do you start to disengage? Do you feel disconnected from the group? I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler, and I don't want this to happen to you this holiday season. Come visit Dr. Adam Voss and me at the Audiology Center for our Here for the Holidays event happening in the month of October. We're offering free hearing screenings, free earwax removals, free consultations, and a $500 coupon towards the latest hearing aids. Call us today to make an appointment for this special event through the month of October. 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefit Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And right now, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is offering their lowest ticket price in years, starting at $55, including fees, only for a limited time. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is now 6:50 and time for us to check in with our traffic guru. That would be Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center, keeping his eye on your ride in.
And there's lots of slow stuff out there so far this morning, Debbie. This traffic reports a service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, busy in the right lanes through Butler Hill on northbound 55, but more of a backup from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear, northbound 270 from 55 to Tesson Ferry, through Gravois and north of 44 all the way up to Ladue. That's all busy now. Southbound 270 from 364 down to Ladue is pretty crowded. Southbound 61 starts to bog down at Highway P. That goes on to 64 up to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and then 364 through Winghaven's heavy. In the westbound side of 64 from 364 out to Highway 70, you've got a roadwork slowdown running in that direction. They just cleared a stall. They had the right lane blocked temporarily. Eastbound 64 at Spady, a little busy through there. That ought to thin out pretty quickly. Downtown, northbound 55, a little slow at Gravois. Westbound 70 around the bend at O'Fallon Park, there's some volume. And 5570 is slow west of 203 onto 64 at 3rd Street, and then once again crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It'll be warm today with sun through variable high cloudiness, a high of 87 degrees, partly cloudy, low 65 tonight. Hot one tomorrow, high near 90. Friday, we wrap up the week with sunshine and a high of 88. Currently, we have a partly cloudy sky. It's 59 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. Republicans and Democrats blaming each other after multiple votes to keep the government funded past midnight failed in the Senate. Democrats are calling for a deal on health care provisions, which they say cannot wait.
Top Republicans say they won't negotiate until the government reopens. Lawmakers are due back on Capitol Hill today for more possible votes. Meanwhile, thousands of federal workers are now expected to go without pay as President Trump threatens more layoffs. CBS News' Naomi Ruckham has more.
Today, tens of thousands of federal workers will be notified to stay home, furloughed without pay. Thousands of essential employees like military troops and air traffic controllers will report for duty, also without pay.
The bill, upon reconsideration, is not passed.
This comes after multiple proposals to keep the government funded past midnight failed in the U.S. Senate.
I'm Michael Wallace. The shutdown does not affect the Postal Service, so you will still get your mail. Social Security and Medicare benefits will still be paid out. Essential workers like military members, TSA agents, and air traffic controllers will continue to work, but without pay. The TSA is warning travelers to expect delays. National parks will remain partially open, but buildings and sites that require staffing, like Smithsonian museums or the Washington Monument, will be closed. Members of Congress still get paid.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe fulfilling a request from the Trump administration to have the National Guard help ICE agents. According to the governor's office, the Guard will assist with administrative, clerical, and logistical duties at ICE processing facilities in the Show Me State. That decision in response to a request from the Departments of War and Homeland Security.
After President Trump told gathered military generals that active duty troops should be trained in American cities by fighting the enemy within, Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth responded.
He uses terms like the enemy within because of posse comitatus, because of the Insurrection Act. He's trying to change the language and claim that there is an invasion of the United States, that there is an enemy within. There is not. It's very clear. It's why he's lost the court case in California. When he sent troops in California, it was found to be illegal.
Duckworth calls it a playbook of authoritarianism.
It is 6:55.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
2 out, bases empty for Mark McGwire. Mike Morgan is the pitcher. Here it comes to McGwire. Swing. Look at there. Look at there. Look at there. McGwire's number 61. McGwire's flight 61 headed for Planet Merit.
What a time that was. Mark McGwire is 62 today. That was home run number 61.
And local birthdays are sponsored for you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday to Emily Block from Jeannie. Also, it is Jacob Mishkin's 22nd birthday today from your family. And happy 100th to Jen Wareheim of Our Lady of Snows in Belleville.
This is the best birthday ever.
You know, when I was, before I moved my mother here last year, I spent a lot of time on the phone trying to find services to help her because she was living alone. And it was really challenging. And that's why I am really excited to tell you about a company, a service that you need to know about, an organization, Ever True Anywhere Care. And it may be a name you're not familiar with yet, but you will be because they're formerly known as Lutheran Senior Services. And Ever True Anywhere Care, one phone number, one website can get you all the help that you need if you are aging in place, you're living alone, or you're caring for a loved one who needs help with something like orthopedic care, injury rehabilitation, licensed nursing care, maybe just everyday tasks around the house like meal prep, housekeeping, running errands, and that kind of thing. Just give Ever True Anywhere Care a call at 314-597-6498, 314-597-6498, or you can find them online right now at evertrueanywherecare.org. That's evertrueanywherecare.org.
If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me, makes me cry.
Now that you've heard it, what are you waiting for?
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed early bird specials $49.99. That's right, weight loss seminar, Saturday, October 18th at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration at 1:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Roger Brand, what's the latest in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, Tom, we still have slow traffic out west. Southbound 61, right around Highway P, most of the way down to Wentzville Parkway is busy. Both directions of Highway 64, really, between 364 and 70 are bogged down. It's westbound roadwork, and eastbound extends east of there in through Winghaven, almost midway up to Highway K. Northbound 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55 to Test on Ferry. It's a little slow at Gravois. Doherty Ferry up to Ladue, a couple of heavy pockets. Southbound 270, south of 364 down to Ladue is busy. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is the 1st of October. It's Wednesday. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
Better late than never. They're probably going to do gangbusters.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the Lynch.
I'm Tom Ackerman.
The St. Louis Development Corporation is now under the microscope of Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick. I'm Sean Malone with more details coming up.
The first federal government shutdown in nearly 7 years is underway.
ICE officers accused of shoving journalists at an immigration court in New York.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine dimmed by high clouds today and very warm with a high temperature of 87.
The first radio interview for Heim Bloom with our John Rooney. You'll hear that coming up at 7:15 and 7:22 at 7.
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for Breaking News. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The first federal government shutdown in almost 7 years is on.
The bill, upon reconsideration, is not passed.
It took effect at a minute past midnight, with Republicans and Democrats blaming each other for failing to agree on a spending plan. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
We want to sit down and negotiate, but the Republicans can't do it in their partisan way, where they just say it's our way or the highway.
Majority Leader John Thune.
There's nothing to negotiate. There's nothing I can give. He has to do the right thing because real people are going to be hurt.
As many as 750,000 federal employees could be furloughed each day of the shutdown. Others will have to report for duty anyway. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The most direct impact are federal workers in the military, these workers, people who are deemed essential, who have to show up to work and not get paid. I can't put a finer point on this, that the personal financial lives of these people has been upended.
Air traffic controllers and TSA agents like Aaron Barker are in the same boat.
It's not just receiving a paycheck. I mean, that means that I have to worry about my mortgage or rent being paid, getting food, putting gas in my vehicle, buying medication, buying diapers.
The Trump administration has pulled its controversial pick to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics. CBS's Michael Wallace.
President Trump tapped conservative economist E.J. Antoni for the job in August after firing Erica McIntyre, whom Trump had accused of rigging jobs numbers to make him look bad. The White House isn't saying why it withdrew Antoni's nomination, but says Trump will announce a new nominee soon. For now, the Bureau is being led by Deputy Commissioner William Wyatrowski. In fact, he's the only person working there now that the government is shut down. Everyone else was furloughed.
New 100% tariffs on imported drugs go into effect today. Some get a break. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
Any company that has broken ground or is in construction at a U.S. manufacturing facility is exempt. Now, one company doing just that is Pfizer.
Generic drugs are also exempt. 2 talk show hosts traded dismissal stories last night. Stephen Colbert guested on ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live in Brooklyn. Stephen said he had to explain to his wife when he got home late.
I walk into the apartment and she goes, "What happened? Did you get canceled?" "No." "Yep." I said, "Yes, I did."
Kimmel on CBS's The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Like, what's the first thing that occurred to you?
I thought, that's it. It's over. It is over. That I was like, I'm never coming back on the air. That's really what I thought.
Kimmel returned after his suspension for comments about Charlie Kirk. Colbert's show fades to black in May. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. so you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It is 7:04. We've got cloudy skies, 59 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news this morning on Total Information AM, have you heard there's a big airport announcement today?
It's become the region's worst kept secret that British Airways is launching a new nonstop flight to London. This is a development that KMOX has been reporting was likely to come.
I told you so.
Our airline analyst, Mike Boyd, tells us that BA will use one of its valuable and scarce slots at Heathrow for the STL flight, which he thinks will be successful.
British Airways needs the traffic that St. Louis is going to provide it. That's feed traffic going through onto other flights at Heathrow. So it's going to be, I would suspect it's going to be probably full from the first day, but it's going to be wildly profitable from the first day.
St. Louis's European drought broke 4 years ago when Lufthansa started direct flights to Frankfurt, Germany. This morning's unveiling includes the mayor and county executive. We're expected to learn what kind of incentives were offered. Lufthansa, by the way, is continuing its service without subsidies. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
No sign of a breakthrough in the Boeing machinist strike. The company issued a statement last night digging in on its position. Boeing executive Dan Gillian says the company is willing to talk, but only about its last contract offer, which workers have already rejected twice. The statement explicitly says Boeing will not negotiate the union's own proposal and will continue its ongoing plan to hire permanent replacements. The strike by nearly 3,000 local machinists is now in its 7th week.
Starbucks baristas are still demanding that Starbucks recognize their union and agree to negotiate a contract. Brandon Treadway, among those demonstrating yesterday outside a location on Hampton, says the company makes it hard to stay insured.
We have no control over whether or not we keep our benefits because we aren't scheduled sufficient hours sometimes to keep our benefits.
The union Starbucks Workers United says the pickets in 35 cities were a direct response to Starbucks' refusal to bargain in good faith. Starbucks, however, says Workers United threw a curveball, proposing individual store contracts after negotiating for a national deal.
Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth railed against fat troops and told generals and admirals that even they must now take part in regular PT or physical training. Hegseth also says an exclusively male standard will apply, and if no females meet the bar, so be it.
There already are standards for combat roles that are based on the combat job. What it takes to be a helicopter pilot is very different than what it takes, for example, to be a heavy equipment mechanic where you have to, replace a giant piece of equipment. But bottom line, those standards already exist. The people in those jobs already qualified for those positions.
That is Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a combat veteran herself. She lost both of her legs piloting a Black Hawk helicopter, which crashed when it was hit by an RPG in Iraq.
The National Guard in Missouri will be helping ICE. Governor Mike Kehoe has authorized the Missouri National Guard to help ICE starting today with administrative, clerical, and logistical duties. That came in response to a request from the Departments of War and Homeland Security. Kehoe says he is confident their contributions will be invaluable to immigration enforcement efforts and that Missouri is proud to join in the Trump administration's efforts.
Mayor Kara Spencer testified before a Missouri House caucus about how the state can better brace for its next disaster.
The Missouri House Futures Caucus is a new bipartisan group aimed at addressing future problems. Mayor Kara Spencer testified before them and stressed the need to prepare for a lack of federal assistance the next time a natural disaster strikes.
Most local governments do not have reserves sufficient to suddenly front millions of dollars to meet the basic needs of a disaster, and likely will need some sort of support to do that.
Mayor Spencer stresses the state taking a larger role in disaster recovery would alleviate some of the stress caused by the federal government's slow, uncertain response. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Hundreds of job cuts at Washington University as the school looks to save money. Almost 200 open positions have now been closed, 316 staff positions eliminated. That will reportedly save about $52 million a year. Under changes by the Trump administration, WashU's endowment will now be taxed at a higher rate, costing the university millions. The school is also the second largest recipient of NIH research funds, which Trump has frozen or terminated.
It is 7:09. We'll take a look at traffic and weather next.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. So they've been with me for 15 plus years. So we've had a lot of seasons together. So it is officially fall now. It's spooky season. You've got Halloween coming up. You have people coming over. It is time to nest for the winter and the holidays. In other words, it's a great time to get your carpets cleaned, to get your furniture clean, to get your air ducts clean, and your dryer vent clean. You can do all of those very reasonably. There's always a DGS special. This month, it is 3 months of carpet clean starting at $129. That's a $40 savings, 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. The guys do a great job. They've been out to my house half a dozen times, maybe more than that. They work their butts off. They're professional. They are courteous. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com, 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Our office computers were from like 2012.
What? They had computers then?
Yeah, I don't know much about new tech.
Apparently.
So I went to Staples and saved big on an AI-powered HP laptop and HP OfficeJet Pro printer, which also came with 3 months of free instant ink.
And we're back in this century. During Staples HP Tech Event, save up to 35% on HP printers and up to 40% on AI-powered HP PCs.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. Until 11/1, select models only.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, it's 7:11. Let's take a look at traffic and weather. Roger Brand's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we still have heavy traffic on southbound 61, midway down from Highway P to Wentzville Parkway. There's a heavy stretch through Lake St. Louis Boulevard and east of 364 past Winghaven, a little more solid there. Southbound 79, Highway Y down to North Main Street. That's slow. If you're on northbound 270, delays north of 55 through Gravois, north of 44, all the way up to Ladue. There's just heavy stretches. Southbound 270, just approaching Ladue is kind of busy. Not as bad running through there right now. South 170, Brentwood on to eastbound 64, looks a little slow. Northbound 55, a brief slowdown approaching 67. The right lane's busy north of Butler Hill to 270. All lanes from the Union Road overpass up to about Virginia. Downtown, westbound 64, just heavy. 3rd Street to the Poplar, and they're wrapping up a trailer fire anyway. Southbound 61 or southbound 67 rather on Highway Y, just a brief delay there. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg.
KMOX AccuWeather, sunshine today through variable high cloudiness. Our high temperature about 87. And for tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 65. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and rather hot with a high near 90. For Friday, very warm with lots of sunshine, the high 88. From the Saligo Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Partly cloudy sky in downtown St. Louis. It's 60 degrees.
It is now 7:12. When steel and manufacturing jobs dried up over the last several decades in Venice, Illinois, the town lost 2/3 of its population, followed by its only grocery store and only school. But now Venice is hoping to make a comeback that's already underway, thanks in part to the vision of Ed Hightower, a retired school superintendent with deep roots in the area. We get more from James Brown.
That is this area right here.
It may be hard to see what Ed Hightower sees in this empty lot in Venice, Illinois.
This will be the front parking lot right here.
Progress.
Who would have dreamt that 4 years ago we would be where we are today?
Take this new school. It's exactly what the retired school superintendent envisioned for this small town 20 miles from where he was born.
I don't care what color you are, what belief you have. You want to reside in a safe area where you can go to school, you go get your groceries.
When the steel and manufacturing jobs dried up over the last several decades, Venice lost 2/3 of its population, then its only grocery store, and finally its only school. But this former college basketball referee knew the rules of the game. In this case, how to get state money flowing Venice's way.
There are no handouts here. That's not happening. This starts at the root of people who want to change their community. When you have that level of investment that we see here in Venice, that's the bedrock for success.
Deputy Governor Andy Menard sees Venice as a tryout for other small towns.
I'm waiting on that grocery store.
Are you waiting on that grocery store?
There's no political label you put on a community that has lost a grocery store.
That grocery store is set to begin construction next month, along with a medical clinic and affordable housing.
I will have skin in the game to make sure that it's successful.
And it's not just state money funding the store. Hightower is personally investing, and he'll manage it while leasing the building from the town.
Growing up in Venice, it was very family oriented. Everybody knows everybody here.
After a lifetime of watching things close, Venice native Alexis Williams saw hope when she dropped her 5-year-old daughter, Navy, off at that new school.
She was excited, and I was excited to see that we have a new building in our city is great.
What are you hoping for, Navy?
I'm hoping that Venice grows and that she doesn't ever have to feel like she has to move away from home to have a better opportunity in life.
So what motivates you now?
Giving something back. This country kid who never thought, first of all, I'd get an education, to go as high as a doctorate in education. But my mom always taught us, you don't get there by yourself.
Ed Hightower's golden rule: life is a team sport. For Eye on America, I'm James Brown in Venice, Illinois.
We have good talent here. And, there's nothing we should concede heading into 2026. We just need to make sure that the things we actually do and the roadmap that we follow is geared towards that bigger goal.
That's Chaim Bloom addressing the media yesterday in his first press conference as president of baseball operations. The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, sat down with him at Busch Stadium.
You've had 2 years with the Cardinals evaluating what's going on in development. What have you learned out of those 2 years?
It's been a really interesting time and honestly really satisfying in a lot of ways, because I got to do that at ground level in 2024 when I was, essentially, functionally, I was pretty much a consultant. But the exciting thing for me, the way that I was able to do that work was really to try to, get in the trenches with our people. And over the course of that year, I sat with dozens of Cardinal employees and just really tried to see the world through their eyes. And when you do that, you really understand that your people see things that you may not see from above. And I was able to combine some of my own thoughts, my own observations, things that I've learned in different places I've been, different experiences that I've had, and combine those with the experiences of our people on the ground. And that really helped me with the roadmap for what we've done this year with our new leadership and player development, how we've set things up to unify player development and performance and make sure everybody's pushing in the same direction towards the goals that we have. So being able to have those experiences to chart that roadmap and then take the first steps on that roadmap has been really cool. And look, when you're trying to make positive change, there are going to be peaks and valleys. It's going to be uncomfortable. It should be uncomfortable. If we stay within our comfort zone, we will never be as good as we need to be. And that was one of the things that for me was an emphasis of making sure, whether it was your first day here, or you've been in this organization for 30 years, that you were okay with being a little uncomfortable. And that's how we get to something that's going to be better than what any of us could do individually.
More from Chaim Bloom with John Rooney on the way at 7:22. In the postseason yesterday in the National League, the Cubs took game one from the Padres 3-1 at Wrigley Field. Dodgers blasted the Reds last night 10-5. On the American League side, Tigers topped the Guardians in Cleveland 2-1, and the Red Sox also won on the road, beating the Yankees in the Bronx 3-1. 4 more games today. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:20. This is Total Information AM. Tom Ackerman, Debbie Monterrey, and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling in from out west, Debbie, right now, eastbound Highway 70, you have a backup from, right about David Hochul Parkway, midway into Wentzville Parkway. Some pretty heavy traffic running through there. It's also a little slow from Bryan Road in through T.R. Hughes, 94 to 5th Street, 270 into the Rock Road, just some busy stretches. Southbound 61, south of P, just kind of slowed down to 64, a little backup. By the time you get to the boulevard, it thins out. And then, of course, at Winghaven, it's on the brakes again briefly. There's slow stuff from McKnight through to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley's heavy. South 170, Boggs down to the Parkway. South 270, Olive down to Ladue is slow. North 270, ramping on from 55 most of the way up to Ladue, just busy the whole way through on that run. And northbound 55, little delay approaching 67. The right lanes are slow through Butler Hill. It's backed up from north of the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear and downtown. Westbound 64, a couple of heavy spots from the 70 split headed across the Poplar right now. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to be a hot one, a high of 87 today, 90 tomorrow, and we'll get a partly cloudy sky tonight, a low of 65. Currently, it's partly cloudy and 60 downtown at the Arch.
Chaim Bloom is in day one of his new baseball career here as the president of baseball operations and joining us on KMOX and the Cardinals radio network and talking a little bit about history, the Cardinal history with Whitey Herzog and with George Kissel. And what have you been able to take in from all of that and maybe take a few things as you go forward with what you're trying to implement now in your job?
Yeah, well, again, I think these guys just, they weren't afraid to do the things that they thought were right. Even if they were different, they weren't afraid to take the right kind of chances. And they were looking to build something great, and they were ambitious in what they were trying to accomplish. The more that you look at what these guys did, it was really just, again, they were winners. They were trying to help win, and they were trying to break that down to its most basic building blocks and say, what can we do with players? What can we do with team building? What can we do with our day-to-day prep that's going to enable us to win the most? And when that's your guidepost, you always have a chance to do something good.
I spoke with you about this time last year, and I was fascinated by your answer to this question. How important is winning at the minor league level, as you had a winner last year at Class A down at Palm Beach and a winner this year at Double A? And I'm told there are 4 or 5 really good major league prospects out of that Double A team. But how important is winning?
Well, that's why we do this. We do this to win. Now, all that being said, I think we want to get there the right way in the minor leagues. We want to get there through good development. I think one of the messages that we gave our staff this year, because there's that sort of debate, that age-old debate in the minor leagues, what's more important, winning or development? And I think in some ways, I actually think it's a little bit of a false premise. Like I kind of reject that question. Yeah, sure, there are going to be times when a manager might hold back from making a move that he might make if it were a big league game, because you want to give a prospect a chance, even if strategically that might not be the best thing for winning the game. But really, those things I think are more on the margins. I think the big thing that gets missed in this debate, and I actually had the opportunity to have some good conversation with some of our people and emphasize this. We should always, when it's 7:00, those lights go on, we should always care about winning. The thing that I think we need to really focus on in the minor leagues, and frankly in the major leagues too, but this was where we wanted to shift our focus in the minor leagues, is if you're a minor league manager, we shouldn't judge you primarily on your wins and losses at 7:00, because you don't control who's on your roster. You don't necessarily control how those kids play. They're all developing. They're all going to make mistakes. But how are you winning between 1 and 6? How are you creating an environment every day that's going to allow all those players to advance towards the goals that they need to hit in order to be big leaguers? How are you creating an environment that's going to teach these kids how to play the game the way they need to play? How are you creating winning habits in these players? And if we win 1 to 6, 7:00 is going to take care of itself. And we're going to build the types of players who are ultimately going to be winning players that are going to be able to win up here. And so it's really not so much about winning versus development. It's about winning at development. It's about looking at all of that through the lens of, we need to do this better than anybody else. If you're a minor league manager, you're not just competing with the opposition. You're competing against the 29 other people that have your job and waking up every day trying to kick their butts. And that's how I view my job. That's how, I've encouraged our whole staff to think about their jobs that way. For most of us, there's 29 other people that get to do what we do. And we got to outcompete them every day. There's no scoreboard. You'll never know if you did it. But if we have that mindset day after day, we're going to go places.
In your time with John Mozeliak over the last couple of years leading up to today, and how you'll shape the roster and shape everything going into spring training in Jupiter, what do you see out of the group that took part in the 2025 season?
Our group at the big league level.
At the big league level.
Yeah. We have a lot of talent here. I said it from the podium. We know we need more, but there is a lot of good talent on hand. I'm impressed by how this group goes about its business. I think some of that is a reflection on our staff and just the attitude that they take to this, the togetherness that they have, and the care they have for our players. We definitely have a group that certainly in a lot of cases, these guys, I think their best days are ahead of them. We saw some really good things from some guys, and we saw some guys who kind of struggled to get out of neutral and really more just showed flashes. So I think the question for us as we go into the offseason, outside of any decisions that we need to make on them or make on the roster, is how do we take these guys that showed us flashes of potential of what they could be and try to help them build their off seasons in ways that allows that to be more than norm. So much of being a good big leaguer is consistency. I've always thought that if you go into a AA clubhouse or a AAA clubhouse and you look around, pretty much everyone in those clubhouses on their best day is good enough to be in the big leagues. The difference is that the guys that get here and stay here perform at that level 8 or 9 days out of 10. And a lot of the guys that don't get there will only show that to you once or twice. So the question is, with these guys in the big leagues who have shown it to us, but not necessarily shown it to us every day, how can we get them training and routines that's going to enable them to hit their top end more consistently?
That's Chaim Bloom with the president of baseball operations title with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. He takes over officially today. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. It's 728.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
It is 7:31, and currently we've got a few clouds and some sunshine downtown. It's 60 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We have some traffic. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yes, I'm slow going for most folks, Tom. Eastbound Highway 70 east of Forestville into the Wentzville area. So really, the Highway 64 is bogged down. Lake St. Louis in through T.R. Hughes. You've got some traffic, again, right through Cave Springs and 94 on into the Rock Road. Southbound 61 Highway P down to 64 is busy. There's slow stuff from 364 through Winghaven. East of Annie Guns to almost Timberlake. It's a little busy. Ballast up towards Spady and approaching McKnight through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Science Center out to Hanley is off the pace. Southbound 270 is crowded from 364 down to Ladue. North 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55, but then it's off the pace all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 30 bogs down from east of the Merrimack, stop and go pockets up the hill to 270. Northbound 55, slow into 67. The right lanes at Butler Hill, all lanes in pockets from Green Park up to River to Pear are bumper to bumper. In downtown, westbound 64, Baugh to the Poplars, pretty slow as well. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, it's going to be warm with high clouds, high 87. Tonight, low 65. Tomorrow, sunny and hot. A high near 90. It's partly cloudy and 60 right now. Weather sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They've been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
A judge sides with the city of St. Louis in its dispute with Sheriff Alfred Montgomery over inmate transportation. A new court order requires the sheriff's department to continue providing emergency medical transports, a duty the sheriff recently said he would not perform because he didn't have the staff. The judge ruled that stopping the transports created a dangerous situation inside the city jail. The sheriff is now required to perform that duty until at least mid-October.
A main downtown St. Louis artery is getting a major upgrade to make it safer for pedestrians and cyclists. About a mile of Tucker between Washington and Choteau will get a dedicated bike lane. Extensions to pedestrian sections should make it safer to cross the wide street. The changes are part of a plan put together in 2017, designed by TrailNet. It was finally made possible thanks to help from the William A. Kerr Foundation, People for Bikes, and Greater St. Louis, Inc. Here's Cindy Mentz, CEO of TrailNet.
It was putting forward a new vision for the city, a place where every trip, no matter how you travel, could be safe, easy, and convenient. So today we're seeing that vision come to life.
The work is expected to be completed in spring 2026.
If you're trying to stay healthy this fall, WebMD has a list of the germiest things that you touch every day.
Your cell phone made the list. You take it everywhere, even in the bathroom, which makes it 10 times germier than a toilet seat. E. coli can live for hours on a warm surface like your phone. The remote control is also on the list because everyone touches it. Wipe it down with antibacterial wipes. Same with the keyboard everyone shares at your house. Kids use it to play games, but your cat may walk on it after they use the litter box. And speaking of pets, dog toys are disgusting. The slobber on Mr. Squeaky creates a sticky place for germs to thrive. Rubber toys can go in the dishwasher and cloth ones in the wash. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
All right, I got it. Cell phone, remote control, keyboard, which a cat could walk on after using the litter box, and dog toys. All righty.
All right. All things I touch every day, but
Yep.
I'm just building up my immunity.
That's right. Thank you. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your money report next.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Visit consumercellular.com/facts or store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
It is 7:36, and it's time for us to get you your money report, which is sponsored this hour by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Consumer confidence fell last month to a 5-month low. Growing concerns about job prospects and the broader economy weighed on many Americans. Data released yesterday show the Conference Board's gauge of confidence decreased 3.6%, just below the median estimate in a Bloomberg survey of economists. But compared with earlier this year, consumer spending has proved resilient and is keeping the economy motoring ahead. Pfizer gets a reprieve from President Trump's long-awaited tariffs on the pharmaceutical industry. The company has agreed to slash some of its drug prices by up to 85% and sell directly to the American public. The deal is expected to be followed by similar agreements with other major drug makers. And Nike shares moved higher in after-hours trading. The sportswear giant's quarterly results indicate the company's turnaround efforts have started to pay off. Sales gains for Nike's wholesale and running shoe business topped forecasts. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Since we opened our doors in 1868, Busey has fostered deep customer relationships and vibrant communities, embodying a legacy of partnership and progress. With multiple lines of business, we provide a range of financial solutions tailored to your needs. From digital banking to planning for retirement, Busey is here to help you achieve your financial goals. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. I want to tell you about 213 Complex. That is the best all-natural weight loss supplement on the marketplace, and you can pick it up at supplement superstores. Here's what it's doing for me. It'll do the same for you. Get the metabolism working 24/7 the way that it's supposed to. Helps me fight cravings, gives me that all-day focused energy with no crash at the end of the day, and lowers cortisol levels, which can help with sleep. So don't wait for the new year to get moving. If you want to get in better shape, do it now. Do it in advance of the holidays. Go to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off the 213 Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Hey, let's talk about your backyard. Maybe it's perfect, but for those of you who need a little improving, I want you to remember Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. They've been saying that for years because it's absolutely true. What makes Chesterfield Fence and Deck the sign you have the very best? Well, they always use the highest quality product, so you're going to get high quality materials, and maybe even more importantly, it's going to be installed by people who are experts and have years of experience. You may or may not know this, but the people who give you the rock bottom price often are hiring people who may or may not have a lot of experience. So you know when Chesterfield Fence and Deck builds something for you that it is going to last for years to come, and that's what makes it a true value. And they've been around for 57 years, a third generation locally owned company, so they stand behind everything they do. Stop by and visit them in the Chesterfield Valley, or they'll come to you. They do free in-home estimates and project design. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than 4 for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada.
Thursday night, the NFL is on KMOX. The Rams, the 49ers.
Siteman Cancer Center game time, 6:30. Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Rams, the 49ers on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
More of Chaim Bloom and John Rooney in the first radio interview for the Cardinals president of baseball operations. That's at 7:45. Right now, Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, busy highways, Tom. This traffic reports a service of financial and tax strategies. Eastbound 70, a little bit of a backup into Wentzville Parkway. There's slow stuff east of Highway A and through T.R. Hughes from 5th Street into about the Rock Road, 364 east of Bryan Road into Gudemuth, a couple of slow spots, and across the Veterans Bridge. Eastbound 64, Prospect, and then it picks up the pace as you approach the boulevard, but 364 through Winghaven is slow. Almost Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake is busy from 270 into Spady, and then McKnight to the Interbelt. Westbound 64 from Kings Highway to Hanley's heavy. South 170 bogs down at Olive. South 270 south of Dorset down to Ladou's heavy. North 270 from 55 most of the way up to Ladou's pretty slow. Eastbound 44, 141 through Bowles, and approaching Laclede Station like Edgar to Laclede Station. Northbound 55 delays into 67. The right lanes through Butler Hill. A Green Park all the way up the river to Paris, some bumper-to-bumper stuff. And westbound 64 west of 25th Street to the Poplars pretty slow. Next update is 7:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
It's 7:42. I'm watching the state of Missouri flag flowing in the breeze at Soldiers Memorial across the street from our Studio B here. But it's not going to be cool today, is it? Our AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg is joining us.
Debbie, anything but cool. Starting out comfortable this morning with 60-degree readings across the area, but with sunshine filtered through those high clouds. It'll be a nice day, but it's going to be a warm one, 87. That's more than 10 degrees above the historical average for the 1st of October. And it's only going to be higher than that for the rest of the 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy tonight, mid-60s. Sunny and getting kind of hot tomorrow, feeling more like we're in late July, late August. Our high temperature near 90, and that kind of warmth is going to continue through the weekend with abundance of sunshine. 88 Friday, 88 Saturday, 88 Sunday. Will challenge records over the weekend, probably fall just a little bit shy. Right now, it's 60 at St. Peter's, 62 in Florissant, partly sunny, 65 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:43. The government shutdown has begun. President Trump and Congress failed to strike an agreement to keep government programs and services running by the deadline. Roughly 750,000 federal workers are expected to be furloughed, and many offices will be shuttered.
With the hours slowly melting away towards the deadline to fund the government, the Senate finished 5 votes short of the 60 required to pass the Republican House bill to keep the government open. It's the first shutdown since the one that closed the government for 35 days around Christmas time in 2018 and early 2019. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer placing the blame on Republicans who he says have refused to negotiate with Democrats over their concerns about Medicaid cuts in President Trump's big, beautiful bill that went into law over the summer.
Republicans once again rejected Democrats' proposals to avoid a shutdown, fix healthcare premiums, and spare Americans the calamity of skyrocketing through the roof healthcare costs.
Republican Senator Bernie Moreno says Democrats are to blame, urging just a handful more to join Republicans in passing the clean House continuing resolution.
3 Democrats have voted with us in complete unity. We need 5 more to wake up tomorrow morning and go, this is just stupid. Because I think most normal Americans would look and go, why are you putting the American people through this?
Not all government functions are shut down. FBI investigators, CIA officers, air traffic controllers, and airport checkpoint operators will continue working, as will members of the military. Social Security payments will continue to go out, and seniors on Medicare will still be able to see their doctors and submit claims to be reimbursed. Furloughed workers will get retroactive pay once the government reopens. But President Trump said Tuesday it's possible the administration will use the shutdown to lay off more federal workers.
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down. So when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected.
Democratic Senator Patty Murray says Trump's priorities are clear.
Trump doesn't want to lift a finger to stop healthcare premiums from more than doubling. But he is raring to go when it comes to firing whoever he wants to or slashing whatever he wants to.
The White House's Office of Management and Budget said any government programs not funded through the big, beautiful bill will likely see most of the effects of the shutdown. Republican leader John Thune says he's hopeful enough Democrats will change their mind so another vote on the House CR can happen as soon as possible. John Stolness, Washington.
We can be good, but we can never be good enough. In this competitive business, the front of the line is always moving. And it takes trust to work together, to communicate well, to have each other's backs, and to hold each other accountable. That's the standard that our fans hold us to as well. And that's what they deserve. A hardworking organization that does things the right way and is never satisfied.
That's Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals' president of baseball operations, and that work begins with manager Ollie Marmol. He confirmed that yesterday, that the skipper will be back. That's based on a number of factors, including what he has observed with this team from a player's standpoint, effort from the staff as well, working together, as he explained to the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney.
I mean, look, there's plenty of things at all levels of this organization that I've tried to observe where I think there's room for us to take steps forward, areas that I want to push people, areas where I think I can help. Work ethic and care, not an issue. We have that in spades. You know, everybody really does not give up. They push, you know, they work till the last out, till the last game. That part is really, really impressive. I think, you know, I'm actually really happy about that I don't think there's people in here that I need to light a fire under or any of that. I think it's more about how do I help harness that, build systems around it so that we can be more purposeful, more organized, create more accountability around how we're doing these things and how that effort is manifesting. But man, we got a group of people here who really care about what they're doing. They take pride in this. They see getting to wear that uniform every day as the privilege that it is, and they don't take that lightly.
With that said, where does that leave Oliver Marmol and the staff as you evaluate and look forward getting ready for Jupiter?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed getting to know them all. Looking forward to working with Ollie. You know, this role that I had previously has allowed me to get to know him, and we've built a good relationship. And I look forward to that continuing to grow in this seat. Obviously, in this seat, it's a little bit of a different kind of relationship, but you know, really have enjoyed getting to work with him, getting to know him. As we got into conversations late in the season, just about what the future might hold, where I thought the organization needed to go. It felt to me like we were really on the same page as to that. Obviously, his seat's different from my seat. And so there's always things that we need to work together on, that we need to navigate, you know, and even at times that we might disagree on, and that's okay. But I've really enjoyed working with him, and I'm looking forward to building that relationship.
Chaim Bloom with John Rooney. Full interview. It's 26 minutes in length. Can be heard on our front page at KMOX.com. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife, Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Stop smoking. Lose weight now without craving, irritability, or your money back. Early bird special, only $49.99 guaranteed. Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight. Stop smoking. Feel great for only $49.99 guaranteed. Saturday, October 18th at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Registration, 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com. That's right, markpatrickseminars.com.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And right now, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is offering their lowest ticket price in years, starting at $55, including fees, only for a limited time. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:51. Let's check in with Roger Brandon, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, folks heading in on eastbound 70 this morning. It's a little busy coming around Wentzville Parkway. Not that bad there, but east of A, there's a couple of spots into T.R. Hughes. East of 94 into the Rock Road is pretty busy. 364 K into Goodermuth, and then across the Veterans Bridge is busy. If you're on southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to the Boulevard, 364 through Winghaven. Bob Boone's Crossing to almost Timberlake. There's heavy traffic briefly backing up through Ballast towards Spady, and then west of McKnight through Hanley on Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at a couple of spots beginning at Olive. Westbound 64, a backup from the Science Center out to the city limits. Slow to about Hanley. South 270 Dorset to Ladue still heavy. North 270, 55 pretty much all the way up to Ladue is busy. 44 from 141 through Bowles. East of Big Bend all the way into Laclede State, it's slower. 55, a little delay at 67. Green Park up across River to Pear through Virginia. There's a couple of heavy spots. Downtown approaching the Poplar out on the westbound 70 is heavy, and westbound 64 Baugh to the Poplar slow the whole way through. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hot one today, high 87 with some high clouds, 65 overnight, and sunny and hot, high near 90 tomorrow. It's 60 degrees right now.
The news continues at 7:52 after an investigation found what could be improper governmental activity. State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick has launched a full audit into the St. Louis Development Corporation's North City Grant Program. While grants being improperly handed out is the focus, former CEO Neil Richardson's exit is also part of the investigation.
We want to look into the circumstances that led up to that and why severance
a severance payment was necessary, as well as a $25,000 consulting fee that was paid in addition to the severance for somebody who was leaving the organization.
The ARPA-funded program first made headlines when it was revealed that some of the businesses and nonprofits conditionally awarded grants despite not existing in North City, let alone existing at all. Fitzpatrick says despite SLDC's claims they reassessed them once this came to light, they received no documentation showing that they have.
In St. Charles County,
the council condemns the assassination of Charlie Kirk in the strongest possible terms as a cowardly act of violence against the principles of free speech and civil debate.
A resolution passed unanimously denouncing political violence. Councilman Joe Brazel notes how St. Louis County handled the same issue.
I called Councilman Baker on this particular issue prior to St. Louis County turning this resolution down, and we decided, surely St. Louis County is going to pass this, so there's no point in us just, doing the double. And so when they turned it down, it was actually shocking and quite embarrassing, actually.
The St. Charles County measure recognized both the late Charlie Kirk and the slain Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman.
A motorist who heard something hit his car as he drove under the Arsenal overpass on I-44 helped police to make an arrest in the case. The motorist turned around and returned to the scene and saw 51-year-old Joseph Patzius with his arm raised and something in his hand as if we were about to throw something. Police arrived and found asphalt residue in Patzius's hand and other chunks of it where he was standing. He was also in possession of methamphetamine. Fox 2 reports earlier this month, they reported on Patzius having junk piling up at his home in the Lindenwood Park neighborhood, with neighbors complaining his property looked like a junkyard.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says Frontier is among multiple airlines using dynamic pricing, meaning they charge different customers different prices for the exact same seat on the same flight. Hawley claims they use your personal data to determine what you can pay. Frontier denies it.
Don't you think that you owe us some evidence?
Hawley also takes aim at having to pay extra to avoid being randomly assigned a seat.
I think it's ridiculous that anybody is charging families who've already paid for tickets with small children, charging them extra in order to have the kids next to them making profit off of it. I mean, I just think that's kind of predatory. I think it's really predatory, actually.
Hawley previously took aim at agents being paid bonuses to charge people for checked baggage at the last minute. The Frontier CEO said they're still paying the bonuses, but they're not as substantial as they once were.
Charges filed against the man who police say triggered an Amber Alert by taking a car with a toddler in the back seat. It started Monday night in Sunset Hills. Officers approached Jacob Putnam. He allegedly stole a woman's vehicle with her 2-year-old inside. The girl was found safe a short time later, but Putnam is facing kidnapping and child endangerment charges.
4 people, including 3 teens, are recovering from non-life-threatening injuries after a car crashed into the McDonald's in the 4000 block of Lindell. A vehicle drove into the building. The driver and 3 teens inside were all taken to the hospital. Police are investigating the cause.
It is 7:56, and you're listening to Total Information AM.
I'm Roger Brand, and this is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Football season means having some fun with it. Football is a lot of fun to watch, but it's even better when you play Underdog. I'll tell you how it works. It's Tom Ackerman for Underdog. You can select entries and win money right here in Missouri. Do I have your attention now? You can win money, and it's really easy. You just choose whether players will go higher or lower on stats. Touchdowns, receptions, rushing yards, on it goes. It's easy. You get your entries right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. I'll be looking at that 49ers-Rams game tomorrow. I'll tell you that. I'm going to save my choices for tomorrow. We'll go through it tomorrow together. Download the app today, Underdog, and sign up with promo code TOM and score $100 in bonus funds or entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Download Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the huge savings.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, we're the home run hitters you need. Morgan & Morgan, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let's get you updated on your ride in. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, 270 is pretty busy, W. It's slow as you ramp on from 55, pretty much all the way up to Ladue. South 270 is a little bit better, but still 364 down to Ladue is pretty crowded. On eastbound Highway 70, the bulk of the volume approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard through Bryan Road, K to T.R. Hughes, 5th Street, all the way into the Rock Road is off the pace. Eastbound 64, Prospect in toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard, east of 364 through Winghaven is pretty busy from almost Long Road now, approaching Boone's Crossing all the way into almost Timberlake. You're bogged down. Then there's heavy stuff again east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. The Interbelt itself, a little busy around Midland, but primarily Olive to 64 is pretty busy. Westbound 64 at Jam from the Science Center, headed out through Clayton Skinkers, slow through the Big Bend area. 44 eastbound, 141 through Bowles and east of Lindbergh, all the way through Elm is pretty busy. Northbound 55, a little bit heavy at 67. A couple of spots, Green Park up through Virginia where it's off the pace, and westbound 64 approaching 25th Street to the Poplars heavy. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The federal government officially shut down a minute after midnight. Vice President J.D. Vance has just weighed in on CBS Mornings.
There are critical services that the Democrats have taken hostage because they have a policy disagreement.
Republicans and Democrats are bitterly divided after a GOP-backed spending plan failed to pass in the Senate. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Our guarantee is to the American people that we're going to fight as hard as we can for their health care.
By one estimate, as many as 750,000 federal employees could be furloughed each day of the shutdown, and that will impact millions of Americans.
The TSA is warning of travel delays. Its agents are still working, but without pay. National parks remain partially open, but sites that require staffing, like Smithsonian museums and the Washington Monument, are closed. Food banks should be okay for now. Brian Green is president of the Houston Food Bank.
But if it starts to get the point later in November when the benefits are also not coming in, where people are not receiving SNAP, et cetera, it will be overwhelming.
Social Security and Medicare payments will still be made. The mail will still be delivered. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
An Iraq War combat vet is weighing in a day after Defense Secretary Hegseth hosted a summit of top military leaders around the world and railed against diversity, women in combat roles, overweight soldiers, and facial hair. Illinois Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth.
There already are established standards, and we already have people in jobs in combat roles who are already qualified and well-trained.
People in Buxton, North Carolina watched in disbelief as 5 unoccupied homes along the Outer Banks collapsed into the ocean, roughed up by Hurricanes Imelda and Umberto.
I'm shocked. Can't imagine this happens anywhere else. 5 collapses within like 1 hour.
Imelda and Umberto are both spinning right now in the Atlantic around Bermuda. Munich's famous Oktoberfest has closed down for the day. Police called to a burning building north of the city after neighbors reported explosions. These American beer fans were disappointed.
I mean, I'm sad. We had a reservation for a beer tent and that's gone.
A little upset. We came a long way and we're only here for 1 day.
German officials say 1 person died in the explosion linked to a possible domestic dispute. They say they found explosive traps at the scene. The nation's largest retailer is falling in line with Health Secretary Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again agenda. Walmart says it'll remove synthetic dyes from all of its store brand foods. It also plans to eliminate 30 other ingredients, from artificial sweeteners to preservatives. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 63 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, October 1st. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis is set to get back a transatlantic airline route we haven't had since the days of TWA.
Better late than never. They're probably going to do gangbusters.
Our airline analyst, Mike Boyd, for years has been saying now that Lufthansa is well established with the direct flight to Frankfurt, Germany, there is room for another, and he's pointed to British Airways. This morning, the mayor, county executive, and economic development officials will announce a new route. It's widely reported to be to London, and Boyd says it'll be to Heathrow.
The slots at Heathrow are valuable, and they're going to use them on St. Louis. I rest my case.
He says the route should be a success right from the first takeoff, both in terms of ticket sales and revenue. While Lufthansa is popular for those going to Eastern Europe and Asia, Boyd says the British Airways route should be popular with those connecting around Western Europe. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Boeing is taking aim at union leadership in the ongoing machinist strike, now in its 7th week. In a statement, the top St. Louis Boeing executive accuses the union of setting false expectations with members. The company reiterates it will not negotiate the union's self-drafted proposal and will continue executing its contingency plan, which includes hiring permanent replacements. Boeing maintains any talks must be limited to the company's last offer. Starbucks workers keep pushing the company to negotiate contracts for locations which have voted to unionize. That includes a coffee house on Hampton on the south side. Baristas, including Devin Willenbrink, hit the picket line to spread their message.
Without a contract, we don't have a lot of the benefits that the union would be able to provide. So we're trying to get Starbucks to come to the table and sign that contract.
Starbucks Workers United accuses the company of stonewalling. Starbucks, in a statement, says, quote, "We're ready to finalize a reasonable contract for represented partners, but we need the union to return to the bargaining table to finish the job." What will it take to get fans back in seats?
I mean, we've heard from fans that they want a great game day experience. They want to see value.
Cardinals president Bill DeWitt III says it's not just about the game itself, but the experience inside the stadium.
Game day entertainment, we've worked a lot on. You've seen some changes already. You'll see more next year. We feel that if we don't push the envelope a little bit, maybe make a mistake, recalibrate. That's kind of our approach.
He says they're working to keep ticket prices down and working to get cheaper concessions options, but notes the team only controls one of the myriad of parking lots around Busch Stadium. The National Guard in Missouri will be helping ICE. Governor Mike Kehoe has authorized the Missouri National Guard to help Immigration and Customs starting today with administrative, clerical, and logistical duties. That came in response to a request from the Departments of War and Homeland Security. Kehoe says he's confident their contributions will be invaluable to immigration enforcement efforts and that Missouri is proud to join in the Trump administration's efforts. Missouri Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick has announced an audit into the St. Louis Development Corporation's North City Grant Program.
The program was funded with ARPA dollars and came under scrutiny when it was revealed some of the grants were conditionally approved for businesses and nonprofits that were not located in North City or in some cases did not exist. Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick is also looking into whether some of the recipients had improper ties to SLDC.
The conflict of interest that potentially existed on grants that were approved to a board member's family member.
Auditor Fitzpatrick confirmed that board member is Alderwoman Shamim Clark Hubbard. He adds they are also looking into the consulting fee and severance paid to former CEO Neil Richardson. Fitzpatrick says SLDC has been somewhat cooperative so far. He would not rule out criminal charges stemming from this audit, but said they have no referrals to make at this time. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Hundreds of job cuts at Washington University as the school looks to save money. More than 200 open positions have now been closed, 316 staff positions eliminated. That will reportedly save about $52 million a year. Under changes by the Trump administration, WashU's endowment will now be taxed at a higher rate. costing the university millions. The school also the second largest recipient of NIH research funds, which the president has frozen or terminated. It's now 8:08. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett.
It makes a big difference who's actually interpreting the mammogram images that you get. We make sure that we have an expert team of breast radiologists that specialize in reading mammograms to be sure that we can get you the most accurate read possible.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Well, yesterday, Roger Brand was telling us about all those problems on Interstate 70 near Warrenton. We're going to talk about that with the Wright City Alderman coming up in just a few minutes. First, though, let's check on the roads this morning with Roger in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, thankfully, it's a better morning there today, Megan. I haven't seen any issues or delays. Of course, that road work, that's part of that 70 rebuild project, widening Interstate 70 all the way to Kansas City, where all these problems have been occurring. If you're on eastbound 64, you've still got some slow traffic. Both sides of Winghaven, it's still slow from Boone's Crossing past Clarkson, heavy from Lindbergh through the Inner Belt. The Inner Belt bogs down at Olive down to 64, westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley's heavy. South 270, a little congestion at 364, then just Olive to Ladue. North 270, we'll call it, I guess, Tesson Ferry to Ladue, the busiest part. Eastbound 44 from Lindbergh in toward Elm, there's a couple of spots where it's off the pace. 55 Union up to Virginia's heavy. Eastbound 44 past the Poplar onto 70 at Salisbury, there's slow traffic, and both ways around Jennings Station's a little crowded, and 64 is heavy from Baugh headed to the bridge as well downtown. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine dimmed by high clouds today. Our high temperature still up there at 87 and partly cloudy and mild tonight of 65. Tomorrow mostly sunny and feeling rather hot, the high 90. Friday, sunshine and very warm, high 88. Saturday and Sunday, bright sunshine and very warm, the high both days 88. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And checking those temperatures this morning, we do have sunny skies, 65 degrees in Florissant, 61 in St. Peters, 63 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Yesterday morning at this time, as I just mentioned with Roger, some of you were stuck behind a tractor-trailer crash on Interstate 70 in the Warrenton Wright City area. That was for hours. It's not an isolated incident, and Wright City Alderman Ramiz Hakim is one of several public officials who have been keeping an eye on that construction zone. He joins me on the line now. Good morning, Alderman.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Megan.
So what have you been seeing along that stretch of road over the recent weeks?
Yeah, it's been a quite serious situation as construction begins moving into our area. The lanes have become tighter. The shoulders have become to be almost non-existent. And as drivers and truckers are learning to navigate the complexity of this area, we're seeing some severe crashes and some pretty serious shutdowns of our stretch of highway.
What are you hearing from people? Do you think it's the design of the construction zone, or do you think people are just going too fast?
I think it's a combination of many things. There is definitely some issues. People speed throughout the state of Missouri. It's unfortunate. People are on their cell phones throughout the state of Missouri, which is also unfortunate. Distracted driving is happening everywhere, but there's something unique and challenging happening at our stretch of highway that's causing this many accidents in such a short stint of time, in such a short amount of highway.
So, what have you seen there? Give us a sense of the types of wrecks that have happened in that work zone.
Yeah, what we're finding more often than not is when two tractor trailers are trying to drive side by side, the margin of error is so tight there because there's no shoulder and the lanes are tighter. And so if one of them moves a little too close to the other side, or if one of them is not paying attention, they're overcorrecting. And with the barriers in place there and a number of overpasses, we're seeing them flip. We've had close to 24 incidents on just the stretch of highway between between Wentzville and Forstell over the past 2 months.
What conversations have you had with MoDOT engineers about the situation there?
I don't envy MoDOT's position on this. They are doing the best they can, but we would like to see some things happen a little bit quicker to help alleviate some of the issues that we're experiencing here on a local level. They've been very willing to dialogue with local officials and our first responders. I think they're receiving the information, but then decisions have to be made at the state level. And in my opinion, that's likely where the delay is taking place.
Obviously, there are concerns about safety, but for example, yesterday, the interstate was shut down for hours. How does that impact communities and residents?
Yeah, it's a pretty serious situation in the sense that, when you get out into Warren County, we're much more rural than St. Charles or St. Louis County. And so when that highway shuts down, it's all hands on deck for our first responders. And that kind of attention needed on a federal highway is just not something our citizens and our infrastructure and our apparatus is designed for. And so the biggest concern is that when that highway is shut down, all of these municipalities experience gridlock. Our streets aren't designed for tractor trailers. I mean, you can't take 90-degree turns in some of our country roads. And so the biggest issue that we're most worried about, and thank God it hasn't been a huge issue at this point, is if there was a medical emergency, it would be nearly impossible for the first responders to get away from the accident on the highway and try to navigate through the gridlock on our country and side roads.
Should there be more patrols by local and state law enforcement officials through that stretch?
I definitely think additional law enforcement presence is helpful, but keep in mind, there are no shoulders there. And so it's complicated in the sense that there's nowhere for these law enforcement officers to sit and even have their lights on. And so the areas that are of the most concern, there's just nowhere for them to pull people over, to enforce the law, to even have a presence, because there's literally nowhere for them to park on this stretch of highway.
How long does MoDOT say that this configuration has to be in place for them to do their work?
The quote that I received from MoDOT was that keeping 2 lanes open during this construction is their main priority. And so we are expecting for this configuration to take place for a number of years. And we're hoping that they will reconsider this configuration before something tragic happens.
What are your next steps?
Well, we're dialoguing here locally. I'm trying to find unique ways as a small municipality to try to support our first responders and our citizens. I mean, this has really disrupted our daily cadence of life and our quality of life here. And so we're working closely with our first responders. We're dialoguing with MoDOT, and everyone's at the table, but the burden of finding a creative solution here really falls at the state level. So all we can do is just continue to put out information for our citizens, encouraging them to drive even safer on the highways, pay closer attention, wear your seatbelt. And in many cases, some of our citizens just not even take the highway, just use the back roads to keep that interstate as clear as possible.
It sounds like, though, those back roads aren't a great alternative. I'm sure there's not like a direct frontage road that goes all along that stretch.
There is a frontage road, but it backs up very, very quickly. Our back roads, our state highways, are not designed for tractor trailers, and so what's happening is everyone is trying to find the path of least resistance to head east through our county, and the entire county becomes gridlock at the St. Charles County line.
Well, Alderman, we really appreciate you spending time with us this morning, and we'll keep watching. I know you've had an active presence on Facebook documenting a lot of this, so we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you, Megan, and thanks for bringing attention to a serious matter.
That is Wright City Alderman Ramiz Hakeem joining us this morning here on Total Information AM. We've got a lot ahead this hour for you on KMOX. We're going to look at what the federal government shutdown means for you when we get the latest from Bloomberg in just a few minutes. Also, I don't know if you saw the news conference yesterday from the governor of Illinois. He is invoking the 25th Amendment, seeking removal of President Donald Trump. We're going to talk with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young coming up at 8:41 this morning about how the 25th Amendment actually works and what that would mean for our federal government. We're going to talk about a number of other issues with Brad as well, including another effort to ban panhandling in St. Louis County. And then at the end of the hour, we're going to talk about how Missouri's auditor is taking a look at how the St. Louis Development Corporation used its money. First, though, let's get another check of the road, see if there are any problems out there. Roger Brand joining us now from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we got a crash reported on the Interbelt now, Megan. This traffic reports a service of Metro Transit. Just a little an update and an aside to your story in the interview you just had that, MoDOT did make modifications that what they tried to do was widen the lanes in that work zone to give those tractor trailers a little more room, and that happened. There was a tanker truck that overturned and leaked a lot of fuel on the 16th. And I think by the 18th is when MoDOT tried to, make some adjustments to that area. And again, like the alderman said, it still hasn't helped, unfortunately, because the crashes continue. Anyway, southbound 170, you've still got this heavy traffic from Olive down to 64 and a crash reported. If you're on westbound 64 from the Science Center out to Hanley, still pretty heavy. Eastbound 64, still seeing a slowdown at Wing Haven. Annie Guns through Clarkson and Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 270, Page down to Ladou's busy. North 270, Tesson Ferry up to Ladou's heavy. Northbound 55, stop and go pockets from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear downtown. Westbound 64, still pretty busy from the 70 split to the bridge, and eastbound 70, 5th Street into the Rock Road is slow. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, looks like it's going to be another warm day today, though not quite as warm as yesterday. A high around 87 degrees. Right now, we have sunshine 63 degrees downtown at the Arch.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Get a Metro Transit $5 day pass from Metro St. Louis and go anywhere Metro goes, no matter how far or how long, all day long. Super chill, clean, safe, and reliable, not to mention AC and free Wi-Fi. Go to metrostl.org to get your pass today.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you every month, but most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch, and we are now in a government shutdown. The last federal government shutdown was the longest in more than 40 years. That was during the first Trump administration. But we have to note there were also protracted shutdowns during the Obama and Clinton administrations. Let's look at the situation that we are in this time with Bloomberg editor John Harney. John, thanks for your time this morning.
That's quite all right, Megan.
Let's start out first with why the Affordable Care Act is at the center of this shutdown.
Well, it's certainly a key issue here. Revolving around healthcare. Insurance premiums for people who get their insurance through Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act will rise sharply early next year. And families, individuals will start getting notices perhaps as early as today about how high these premiums are going to be. Now, they're going up because subsidies that were provided by Congress are expiring, and Democrats say that they have the shutdown is really about this. That Republicans have refused to negotiate about the subsidies. The Republicans say that's bogus. That this can be done once a so-called clean stopgap continuing resolution is passed until sometime in November. And Democrats then say, well, people will already be freaking out about the premium notices. So there we are.
And I guess we're talking about 22 million low and middle income Americans. When we look at the overall impact of a prolonged shutdown, let's say, for example, just this week, what kind of impact could people around the country be feeling?
Well, it's remarkable. I find it somewhat remarkable what so far is remaining open. The Smithsonian museums here in Washington will be open at least until early next week. The national parks will be open. Now, what won't be open is, and this would be provide insight into the economic effect if this goes on very long, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Apparently, there will be the jobs report, which is supposed to be out on Friday, will be delayed. But this is happening, as I should point out, after the federal workforce has been shaken by the DOGE cuts earlier this year and by threats even now by Donald Trump and others that there could be massive dismissals because of this shutdown or during this shutdown. But any shutdown, it sort of the effect takes the longer it goes on, the worse it is for the economy. And if there are widespread job cuts, federal job cuts, that could have an economic effect as well, a negative one.
So I guess we'll just have to see how long the holdout goes. John, thank you so much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Megan.
That is Bloomberg editor John Harney joining us this morning here on KMOX. Of course, yesterday there was a meeting of U.S. military top brass with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the president. We're going to learn more about that when we talk with CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland next.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Solutions now at Menards. Keep your garage and workspace organized with Rubbermaid. Fast Track is durable and easy to install and adjust with everything you need to maximize your space. Fast Track garage storage systems make it easy to use wall space to hang tools and equipment. Keep your space organized with Rubbermaid Fast Track. And view the weekly flyer for all of our great deals happening this week on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
It's 8:30. Let's see how things are rolling on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got this crash in North County, Megan, on 170. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. It's northbound 170 right past the Hanley exit. The left lanes are closed. It's overturned vehicle. Left lane blocked both ways. So there's a slowdown southbound, but there's a northbound jam back to through Airport Road on 170. South 170 at the south end is still kind of busy from Delmar down to 64 in a couple of spots. South 270 just kind of slow, 364 down toward Olive and Olive down to Ladue, a little bit crowded there. Eastbound 64, still heavy traffic coming out of the valley to about Timberlake and from Spady all the way through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Science Center through Big Bend is heavy. North 270 still slow, gravel to Ladue. Northbound 55 backed up. Union Road up to River to Pear through Virginia. It's a little heavy from the Poplar out into westbound 70 slow, and westbound 64 still pretty slowed down from 3rd Street across the bridge. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Warm with sunshine today. We may see a few high clouds, a high of 87 degrees. Currently sunny 63 in downtown St. Louis. What was the purpose of yesterday's meeting of top U.S. military officials with the president and the defense secretary, Pete Hegseth? President Trump floated the idea of using deployments to U.S. cities as training grounds for the military. Secretary Hegseth said it was time to end woke culture in the U.S. military. With me now is CBS News military analyst, retired Army Colonel Jeff McCausland. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Megan, always good to be with you.
Now, I'm sure that there in the past have been meetings with top military leaders and the defense secretary and president. What made this meeting seem so unusual to people?
Well, actually, there have not. I mean,
Okay.
I've only been doing this, as you know, Megan. I was just in the studio with you a few weeks ago for about 50 plus years, and I never, in my entire military career and since, have seen the president, secretary of defense call together all the general officers and their sergeant majors. Don't forget the sergeant majors are there too for this type of meeting. Yes, do the 4-star major command, which is only a handful of them, once a year to meet with the SecDef, meet with the president, meet with the chairman. Yes, that happens. Do each service have individual general officer conferences? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine? Yes, that happens too. Might a major commander bring in his staff from around a region like the Pacific and bring them together at the command for a meeting? Yes. But this is pretty unprecedented, and particularly unprecedented in this age when you have secure video teleconferencing and I can get them all on the phone and get them all in the screens and talk to them like that, rather than spend literally millions and millions of dollars to bring all these people to the United States, a massive security requirement. What does this mean back in their respective commands? And to make things even more exciting, let's bring in not only the Secretary of Defense and the President, this for an administration who frankly talks about rooting out fraud, waste, and abuse. And for the life of me, beyond what you just said at the top, I'm not quite sure what this meeting was about. It was, yes, to root out wokeism. Okay, I got that. But Mr. Hegseth spent most of his time talking about beards, people being overweight, physical fitness standards that drill instructors can put their hands on recruits again. And he was lecturing a group of officers, all of whom have, on the average, over 30 years of military service, multiple combat tours. Several have been wounded. All have lost soldiers. Many have lost friends. And he's lecturing to them about the warrior ethos from his perspective, having served 2 years in the military and multiple years as a commentator on Fox News. And then they were lectured by the president in a speech that really had no theme to it that I could divine, Megan. Maybe you could. And we all know the president, managed to avoid the draft 5 times.
I'm wondering, the one thing that I noted was the fact that some of these top leaders were pulled from conflict zones. Was that inappropriate?
Well, inappropriate, it's like beauty, it's in the eyes of the beholder. But I would say in this particular age where you can do that by teleconferencing, I would say they've got a lot more important things to do, and one would worry what might happen in those particular theaters while they were gone. Now, does each of them have a highly qualified deputy? Yes. Are there standard operating procedures on how to conduct things? Yes. But think about the European Command right now. There's several generals in the European Command, NATO, who came back for this meeting. We've got Russian jets flying over Estonian territory, drones flying over Poland. We've got cyber attacks probably done by the Russians in London. I was just there last week, and so to pull all those guys out at this particular moment, at the same time you're trying to broker a ceasefire in the Middle East, pull all those guys out of the Middle East, I would say probably could have been done by a teleconference just as effectively, quite frankly, but it doesn't give you what some people described as the mother of all photo opportunities.
One last question for you. One of the comments that was made, Pete Hegseth said that military leaders should do the honorable thing and resign if they don't like his new approach. What position did all of this put these senior military leaders in?
Well, each of them are trying to answer that question as they go back home. I guarantee it. Can I put my, walk up to the mirror and shave in the morning and live with myself? Do I think I'm fulfilling my obligations, which is an oath to the Constitution, not to the president, not to the SecDef, not to a political party, but oath to the Constitution? And if I can't do that, then I should resign. I saw Chairman Powell, frankly, speak to a bunch of midshipmen one time about men engaged in the military. And a very bright young man asked him about, if I can't live with that, what should I do? And he said, well, you as a military professional owe political leadership your frank, candid, honest advice and analysis based on your experience and training. And then they make the decision. If you can live with that, then you execute the mission to the maximum extent of your abilities. If you can't, then your only alternative is to resign. And they're all thinking about that as they go home. But Megan, the most worrisome thing about this whole episode to me was that towards the very end, when the president started talking about, we're going to need you to conduct military operations against the enemy from within. We're going to need to send military forces into cities. Hey, operations in American cities may be good training for the American military. I'm sure that really stunned that audience who sat there almost completely silent throughout those particular remarks, because they know that's an attack on civil military relations. That oath they took to be the servants of the American people, to defend the American people, and not attack the American people in their homes.
CBS News military analyst, retired Army Colonel Jeff McCausland, thank you so much for your insights today.
Take care, Megan.
Your Money Report is next.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Consumer confidence fell last month to a 5-month low. Growing concerns about job prospects and the broader economy weighed on many Americans. Data released yesterday show the Conference Board's gauge of confidence decreased 3.6%, just below the median estimate in a Bloomberg survey of economists. But compared with earlier this year, consumer spending has proved resilient and is keeping the economy motoring ahead. Pfizer gets a reprieve from President Trump's long-awaited tariffs on the pharmaceutical industry. The company has agreed to slash some of its drug prices by up to 85% and sell directly to the American public. The deal is expected to be followed by similar agreements with other major drug makers. And Nike shares moved higher in after-hours trading. The sportswear giant's quarterly results indicate the company's turnaround efforts have started to pay off. Sales gains for Nike's wholesale and running shoe business topped forecasts. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the Our Idea is Ready to Launch vision. This is the Create Great Jobs vision. This is the We Need More Space vision. This is Busey, where your business visions become realizations through securing capital for growth and comprehensive strategies that ensure a prosperous future, because thriving businesses mean thriving people and thriving communities. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Sunny skies, 67 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Police say a motorist helped them track down a 51-year-old man they suspect has been throwing concrete off the Arsenal overpass onto 44 drivers. They reportedly found asphalt residue on his hands. The National Guard of Missouri will be helping ICE. Governor Mike Kehoe has authorized Guard members to help with administrative, clerical, and logistical duties. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young's up next. He'll talk about panhandling, Brentwood blight, and the 25th Amendment. First, though, let's check the roads for you on this Wednesday morning with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, the emergency crews went back in service northbound 170 near Hanley, so the northbound lanes are open. Still left lane closed southbound. This traffic reports a service at Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. North 170 still has a backup through Airport Road. Hopefully it'll thin out pretty quickly now that they have departed the scene. They're just waiting for a tow truck. Eastbound 70, Blanchette Bridge to the Rock Road, slow. South 270, south of 364 to Ladou's busy. North 270, just north of Gravel to Ladou is still crowded. Eastbound 64, Clarkson into Timberlake heavy. Just bogged down the whole way from 270 to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend, slow. If you're on northbound 55, Bayless, Weber area, a little busy. Westbound 70 past the Musial Veterans downtown is heavy. And still crowded westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplar. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we're going to have a warm day today, though not quite as hot as yesterday. Expect a high of 87 degrees, partly cloudy tonight with a low of 65. We have sunny skies, 67 downtown at the Arch. Thanks for joining me this morning for Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis County Councilman wants to ban panhandling along the side of the road. Will it pass legal muster? Let's ask KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He's a partner at Harris, Young, and Kaiser. Brad, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, Megan.
So this is Republican Councilman Mike Archer. He says he wants to make it a public safety issue because this issue has been challenged before. I'm wondering if that is enough to get around some of the First Amendment questions that surround this.
Well, there are enormous First Amendment questions here, Megan, and it basically breaks down like this. Both state and federal courts have routinely held that panhandling is protected by the First Amendment, that it's speech, and that any statutes or ordinances that try to block that content-based speech are technically just invalid. They're unenforceable. In fact, famously, I believe it was in 2021, St. Louis County was sued by someone who was panhandling, and St. Louis County had to pay almost $300,000 in penalties and attorney's fees because of the citations for panhandling. So what the court will be looking for is whether this is a content-based restriction or whether it's a safety restriction. For example, you can't stand in the street. That is content neutral. It doesn't matter if you're there asking for money or there telling people to love God, whatever it is. It's not content-based. But if it looks to be what's called pretextual, meaning, yeah, it says it's for safety, but it's really for panhandling, at that point, the court is going to be very wary of allowing that ordinance to continue.
Even if it is framed as a public safety issue, there are arguments that other groups, for example, people who walk or who run, could be swept up in this.
True. And also, it's also problematic because if the statute says or the ordinance says you can't stand in the street or you can't even stand on a median because of safety issues, a lot of the medians in St. Louis County are quite large. And one could argue that that's really not a safety issue. Secondly, sometimes with the median, you're supposed to stand there as you cross the street and wait for a walk sign. So it's very problematic. Courts are leery of this, and the chances of it succeeding with passing court muster, rather, the chances are quite low.
Let's turn to Brentwood. We've been hearing about this property fight over eminent domain and an area that's been ruled as blighted. Business owners continue to fight to keep their properties. What is the latest in this case?
Well, the latest is this. A judge last week made a decision that there was a blight determination. A blight determination is the first step in the eminent domain process. And a blight determination says that the area is significantly downgraded to the point that it qualifies under the statute as blighted. Then the eminent domain process moves forward. But the issue here is number one, what was used in the blight determination. A lot of times they were basing this on chipped paint on some buildings or maybe some cracks in the pavement. And the question becomes, is that really blight? Secondly, going back to 2005 at the Supreme Court, there's a real issue in these types of cases as to what's called public use. Typically, before 2005, public use was for highways. But now it's being used to justify selling property to a developer to put in a new shopping center, which is actually commercial development. So all of those issues will be involved as this goes through the eminent domain process to challenge whether the city can invoke eminent domain.
Do you feel like business owners have legal options remaining?
They do have legal options, Megan, and that is once the public use justification is certified by the court, that's the point in time when these business owners can challenge that, and that's how they'll challenge it, that it's not truly blighted, and this is not a true public use situation, and so there will be lots of court fighting on this eminent domain process for years to come.
There's a couple of national issues that popped up last night that I want to get into with you quickly. The first is, if you look on the Department of Housing and Urban Development website right now, there is a large banner that pops up on the homepage that says, quote, The radical left are going to shut down the government and inflict massive pain on the American people. When I saw this, I didn't believe it. I thought it was like a spoof site, and I checked it out, and it's actually there. A lot of people are saying this is a violation of the Hatch Act. Can you explain that?
Sure. The Hatch Act, Megan, prohibits federal executive branch employees, other than president and vice president, from using their official authority to engage in political activity while on duty. And it also governs any employees in the executive branch. So whoever put up the banner on the website, they could easily be investigated by what's called the U.S. Office of Special Counsel. That's who handles the enforcement arm of the Hatch Act. They could be suspended, they could be fired, or they could be reprimanded, depending on the outcome of the investigation.
Okay, and then let's move to the next because we are running out of time here. After President Trump Tuesday suggested that cities such as Chicago should be used as, quote, training grounds for our military, the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, invoked the 25th Amendment, saying it should be used to remove the president from office. I looked through the 25th Amendment to kind of remind myself how that is structured. Could you explain for our listeners how it works and the likelihood that this could be used in this case?
Yeah, a governor cannot invoke the 25th Amendment. Under Section 4 of the 25th Amendment, it requires the vice president and a majority of the cabinet to invoke the involuntary discharge clause of the 25th Amendment. And so a governor can't do that. And that Section 4 clause has never been invoked since it went into effect in the 1960s. It's only been invoked in times when the president has undergone surgery, has been under anesthesia, but never the involuntary clause of Section 4. The likelihood of that happening here is zero because the governor can't invoke that.
So when you look at the individuals who could invoke it, would they be likely to, and what would they have to prove to remove the president from office, even temporarily?
Well, the vice president and a majority of the cabinet members, there's really no criteria other than those principles. The vice president, majority of the cabinet, feel that the president is unable to conduct his duties as president of the United States. That's all that's required under the Constitution. Since this has never been invoked before, we don't know what additional requirements the courts would put on it, but that's all that's listed in the 25th Amendment.
All right, Brad, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time this morning.
My pleasure.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris, Young & Kaiser. He joins us every Wednesday morning here on Total Information AM.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And right now, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is offering their lowest ticket price in years, starting at $55 including fees, only for a limited time. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands, or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
We're seeing a new coffee entry in our market. What's it all about, and how is its model different than other coffee chains? Let's check in with KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University. So, Jerry, what sets Dutch Bros apart?
Well, a whole pile of things. Dutch Bros actually started in a place called Grants Pass, Oregon. And at the time they did that in 1992, there were only about 18,000 people. And it started as a coffee cart. And when they decided to expand, what they ended up doing was creating a drive-through experience, which was a relatively early sort of thing for coffee. They've been growing through the West and are beginning to move further and further east. Their Illinois store, which is opening in Edwardsville, is one of the most eastern ones that they've got. They already have a location in O'Fallon, and they're actually building another one on 15,200 Manchester in Baldwin. So we'll see a lot more of them.
The thing that I wonder, in that area where they are finishing that store up in Edwardsville and Glen Carbon, we've got Starbucks, we've got Goshen Coffee, we've got a couple of new scooters. How in the world can our market sustain yet another coffee company?
Well, remember, Starbucks just announced closing stores and cutting back people. They have, they're so gigantic. They're at 17,000 stores. And so their cutting back is actually making space for more competing coffee brands. And part of what we're seeing, we've got Starbucks at 17,000. We've got Dunkin', which has got 9,700 locations. Dutch Bros have just cracked 1,000. Now they're talking about doubling the number of locations by 2029. But the fact is that there is growth in the coffee market. Amazingly enough, the starting age for coffee drinking is now 15, where it was 18 just a couple of years ago. And so more people are trying coffee. The younger people are more experimental, demanding more innovation. So there's a lot of opportunity to sell a lot more coffee.
That is KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. Thank you so much.
Have a great week.
Well, the government is shut down. What does that mean? We'll chat with Representative Wesley Bell. Plus, St. Louis lands a direct flight to London's Heathrow Airport, and we are officially in the Chaim Bloom era of Cardinals baseball. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever